Chapter 8:15 Power Contest 1. Alright, let's join forces and kill him. Qinglu nodded and answered. He naturally understood Li Lingshan's strength. If it was a one-on-one fight, he could not take the risk. His voice was not loud, but countless experts heard him. Instantly, countless powerhouses were shocked. They did not expect the four martial god hidden powerhouses to join forces to deal with Li Lingtian. As a result, Li Lingshan's reputation grew to the point where four martial gods joined forces to deal with him. In the divine martial continent, there was no other martial saint powerhouse that could make a martial god powerhouse fight. Unless it was a powerhouse at the peak of the 9th heavenly layer of the martial saint realm. Even so, there was no way four martial gods would join forces. Moreover, Li Lingtian was only a young first heavenly layer martial saint. In an instant, the entire battlefield fell silent. This battle was no longer an ordinary battle. It was a battle between supreme experts. Are you sure you want to join forces to fight me? Li Lingshan's expression remained the same when he saw that the four of them were about to join forces. It's just four people. So what? What about you? Hai Jiaming was stunned when he heard Li Lingshan's words. A smile then appeared on his face as he uttered such a despicable statement. The numerous powerhouses and the army were rendered speechless. Even a martial god powerhouse was so shameless. All right. Then don't regret it when the time comes. Li Lingshan's lips curled into a cruel smile as he took a step back in a flash, forming a strange formation with Qjng Ling and Tank Genji. At the same time, his divine sense moved, and the air trembled slightly. A huge demon beast appeared in the air. The huge demonic beast floated in the air like a huge mountain range, but it emitted a destructive and terrifying aura. This aura made countless experts feel waves of fear. Even Hai Jiaming and the other three felt the pressure. 9th Order Monster Beast. A 9th-ranked demonic beast is equivalent to a martial god expert. Looks like Sir Lingtian won't fight alone. Are you stupid? The other four martial gods shamelessly teamed up to bully Sir Lingtian. The war god is also this shameless. A level 1 9th-ranked demonic beast is not much different from a first firmament war god. However, Sir Lingtian's cultivation base is only at the martial saint realm. Even if his strength is heaven-defying, he can only deal with a martial god. For a moment, countless experts began to discuss. Now they had the courage to discuss it because the four martial gods were joining forces to deal with Li Lingtian. There was no time to be distracted. Even if they were to discuss it, the martial god powerhouses would not be in the mood to deal with them. However, what happened next immediately shocked all the experts. The army of the Carefree Dynasty also exclaimed. After the exclamation, they were even more excited. Li Lingshan's expression remained calm as he looked at the four martial god powerhouses. Since you're bullying me, then I won't be polite. Only I bully others. No one has ever dared to bully me. Li Lingtian spoke indifferently. After he was done speaking, he looked into the void with a smile. None of the powerhouses understood what Li Lingtian meant by that. They suspected that Li Lingtian was pretending to be strong to stall for time. However, the air trembled at this moment. Using numbers to bully the few is not the style of a strong person. That's right. Since you want to bully us with numbers, then we won't be polite. In the air, two voices appeared. The voices were conversing, completely ignoring the experts and the army below. The voice was extremely calm, but the appearance of this voice at this time did indeed make the atmosphere of the battlefield even more oppressive and strange. This place was filled with super experts. If there were experts hiding in the air, they would be seen by the martial saint and martial god. However, the owner of these two voices had been hiding in the air all this time. No one could tell what kind of powerful cultivation and strength they had. Just as all the experts were in shock, they looked up at the sky. Two old men in their 50s appeared in the air. They were in great spirits. One of them was dressed in Confucian robes while the other was dressed in Taoist attire. The two of them slowly descended from the sky and hovered not too far away from Li Lingtian. Both of them looked at Li Lingtian with utmost respect. Martial god expert. Another martial god expert. Two martial gods. It's martial saint Outyen. No, it's Lord Martial God. Isn't this the #1 martial saint of the Great Shang Kingdom, Reverend Tianchengzi? How come he has also reached the martial god realm? Could it be that they are all from the Carefree Empire? I didn't expect that after the battle at the Carefree Empire, both of them would reach the martial god realm. It was already heaven-defying to begin with. Now that I've become a war god, it's even more unimaginable. All the powerhouses were stunned when they saw the appearance of Yun Aotian and the other man. Both of them were martial god realm experts. Their terrifying cultivation and strength caused the aura in the air to tremble. Yun Aotian and Tian Chengzi's reputation was not any less than Li Lingshan's in the past. Naturally, there were countless people who knew them. However, after becoming martial gods, all the powerhouses were even more shocked. At the same time, he looked at Li Lingtian. Only Li Lingtian, the divine martial continent's #1 divine alchemist, could create such a martial god. The army and experts of the Xiaoyao dynasty were all excited. Greetings, Lord War God. Greetings, Lord War God. All the troops and powerhouses bowed to Yun Aotian and the other man. Although this was not a half-kneeling ceremony, it was already heaven-defying to receive such treatment. The greeting of an army of 30 million and tens of thousands of experts had already raised the status of these two to a lofty level. Martial gods could be counted on 10 fingers in the Black Continent. In the eyes of martial artists, martial gods were gods. Now that these two martial gods were the martial gods of the Carefree dynasty, they naturally had to be respected. Hai Jeming and the other 3 were stunned. There were 4 of them, 3 of Li Lingshan's group, and a demonic beast that was comparable to a martial god. With such strength and numbers, the situation was completely out of their expectations. Seeing that Yun Aotian and the other 2 were worshipped by an army of tens of millions while they were only humiliated, such a difference in treatment made them feel disappointed and angry. This subordinate greets young master. Greetings, young madam. When Yun Aotian and Tian Chengzi saw the tens of millions of troops and experts paying their respects, they were incomparably happy. This was the treatment of a martial god, this was the status of a martial god. The martial god was already high and mighty in the divine martial continent. He had already reached a godlike status among the martial artists. However, they understood that Li Lingtian had helped them achieve their goals. Without him they would not exist. Moreover, even if they had become martial gods, they were still nothing in front of Li Lingtian. Li Lingtian could help them or destroy them. In their hearts, Li Lingtian was their benefactor and their master. He was a master whom they could protect with their lives and would be loyal to them forever. This was the only way to repay Li Lingshan's kindness. After all the troops paid their respects, the 2 of them waved their hands and all the troops and experts stood up. In the end, he turned around and bowed respectfully to Li Lingtian. His face was filled with respect and adoration while his eyes were filled with Yu Cheng without any falsehood. At the same time, they also greeted Tang Zhenji and Qing Ling. They understood the importance of Tang Zhenji and Qjng Ling in Li Lingshan's heart. The powerhouses and the army were shocked by this situation. This was the charm of a master. No matter how powerful and superior they were all subordinates in front of Li Lingtian. Li Lingtian was the supreme master in their hearts and would always be the most respected master. Yes, the 3 of you, hold the line for me. I'll take care of them one by one. Fuck, they're bullying me because I'm outnumbered. Let's see what they can do. Li Lingtian nodded in satisfaction and nodded softly. The moment he spoke, countless powerhouses staggered and nearly fell. They were speechless at Li Lingshan's words and their faces were filled with black lines. However, they were slightly satisfied with the fact that the 4 martial gods were ganging up on Li Lingtian. This was bullying. Now that Li Lingtian had revealed his true strength, he was fully qualified to speak. Naturally, he would not let the other party off easily. Those who came out to mingle would have to pay back sooner or later. Swoosh, swoosh. Yun Aotian and Tian Chengzi did not speak but they answered Li Lingtian with their actions. The 2 of them spread out and formed a 3-legged confrontation with the gorilla monster, surrounding Hai Jeming and the other 3. This situation completely stunned the experts. 2 people and a monster actually wanted to surround and kill the 4 martial gods. Even if they didn't surround and kill them, they were at least holding them back. Like master like subordinates. Hai Jeming, you motherfucker. Get out here. Li Lingtian waited for Yun Aotian and the others to get into position before the smile on his face grew wider. His tone was no longer as calm as before but was filled with curses. At this moment, he had the initiative. He had the initiative on the entire battlefield. However, he was extremely serious in his heart. After all, the cultivation of these 4 experts was strange, and the cultivation techniques they cultivated were extremely strange and vicious. After saying that, he looked at Tank Genji and Yinglong and nodded. Whoosh whoosh. The trio's strange formation became ethereal. Li Lingshan's aura was filled with the power of destructive flames. The terrifying flaming sacred body, coupled with the 9 suns sacred flame from his previous life, seemed to be able to destroy the entire space. However, Tank Genji and Yinglong were displaying a terrifying icy aura. Both of their physiques were abnormal. One had the Tai Yin body, while the other had the 9 Yin absolute meridians and cultivated the 9 Yin scripture. Immediately, the 3 of them erupted with destructive flames and icy QJ. 2 extreme attributes erupted at this moment. 2 worlds formed in the sky. Countless experts and armies quickly retreated. A great battle between martial god powerhouses represented the destruction of heaven and earth. If the distance was too close, one would suffer the disaster of the fish pond. Chapter 816. Martial God High Gemming 1. Boom! Boom! The destructive power of the flames burned the space, and the cold air seemed to freeze the world. The extreme world appeared at this moment. Seeing this, High Gemming and the other 3 were shocked. The cold poison and Yin poison cultivation techniques that they cultivated happened to be Yin cold chi. The power of the cold Yin energy was terrifying and destructive even among experts of the same level. In a battle between experts of the same level, they could completely kill their opponents. Even if they were first heaven martial gods, they still had the power to fight against second heaven martial gods. In their eyes, dealing with Li Lingtian was a piece of cake. Even though they were confident that they could defeat and kill Li Lingtian by themselves after witnessing Li Lingshan's formidable strength, the 4 of them wanted to join forces for fear of getting injured. However, they were held back by Li Lingshan's declaration of strength. Even so, they were confident that they could defeat all the powerhouses here. However, they never expected Li Lingtian and the 2 girls to use such a cultivation technique. It was as if the cultivation technique was specially designed for them. It was the nemesis of the Yin Qi. Good, very good. It seems that you already know our cultivation method and came up with this formation to fight us. If High Gemming still didn't understand, he would be a fool. It seemed that the spies from the Carefree dynasty had not been completely wiped out. Otherwise, Li Lingtian would not have used such a cultivation technique before the war even began. It was specifically designed to deal with the Yin Qi. Ha 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 ha. Since you've come to the Black Continent, don't ever go back. Li Lingtian laughed out loud as he extended his hands into the air. Instantly the space shook. 2 balls of light gradually gathered in his hands. One was blazing flames, and the other was ice. Both balls of light carried destructive power. In the world of the power of fire and the power of ice, Li Lingshan's 2 light orbs were like fish in water. Limitless holy flame. Spirit cold ice. Li Lingtian shouted softly and the space trembled. All the powerhouses felt their hearts tremble at that moment. They had heard that Li Lingtian possessed both ice and fire elements, and was able to combine the 2 ultimate cultivation techniques to create a destructive force. Now it seemed that it was indeed so. High Gemming cultivated the cold Yin Qi and his cultivation method was extremely vicious. Naturally, he could imagine the terrifying power of Li Lingshan's 2 attributes. He dared not be careless at this moment. He did not dare to treat Li Lingtian as a warrior sage powerhouse but as a powerhouse who was on par with him. Profound Yin True Scripture. Heavenly Yin Wind Splitting Palm. High Gemming's eyes were filled with malice. Cold energy burst out from his body, and a whirlwind rose into the sky. The whirlwind was completely formed by Yin energy, and the space was instantly frozen. Seeing this scene, countless experts trembled. In the beginning, a single strand of Yin Qi could instantly kill countless experts and armies. Now that the martial god experts were using destructive techniques, their might would definitely be earth-shattering. If this attack landed on him, he would definitely disappear into thin air. Swoosh swoosh swoosh. Swoosh swoosh swoosh. Countless armies and experts retreated once again. A battle between martial god experts could easily destroy the world. Everything within 1,000 miles was gone. Furthermore, all the powerhouses understood that after this battle, Heaven's Roar's capital city was gone. At this moment, Hai Gemming flipped his hand in the air. The destructive cold air almost tore the space apart. At the same time, the whirlwind quickly turned into a palm shadow. The palm shadow was 1,000 meters long, and the powerful palm shadow seemed to cover the entire world. Cold air spread in all directions, and the space gradually froze. Even the experts and the army thousands of miles away felt a chill. In the blink of an eye, a destructive cold palm shadow took form, and the air distorted in front of this palm shadow. Heaven and earth changed color. Snow fell from the sky within 1,000 miles. Wherever the snowflakes fell, the air would be corroded and destroyed. Every snowflake carried a destructive cold poison and poison. Any expert who touched it would die. The destructive palm shadow was already hurtling toward Li Lingtian. The might of a martial god powerhouse was enough to turn the world upside down. At the same time, Qing Lu, Bai Yuntian, and Bai Yunbian circulated their cultivation techniques, but they did not dare to make a move. That was because there were still 2 martial god experts and a 9th-tier demonic beast staring at them not far away. If they made a move, the other party would also attack at the first moment. Now that Hai Gemming was fighting Li Lingtian, a warrior sage was fighting a martial god. In their minds, no matter how powerful Li Lingtian was, he was no match for the martial god. Even with the help of the 2 girls, they were only using their cultivation techniques. This technique was only used to suppress Hai Gemming's yin qi, but it didn't have any real offensive power. Now it was time to see if Li Lingtian or Hai Gemming was more powerful. The entire battle was now focused on Li Lingtian and Hai Gemming. All the powerhouses and the army were extremely excited and shocked. They were excited to see Li Lingshan's martial saint battling the martial god, but they were shocked by Li Lingshan's strength. If he could defeat the martial god, he would become the opponent of all powerhouses in the future. By then, he would surely be feared by all powerhouses in the world. 9 heavens, 4th heaven, forbidden. Li Lingtian looked at the palm shadow in the air and unleashed the power of fire and power of ice from his entire body. As he clasped his hands together, a destructive aura erupted between heaven and earth. One was death, and the other was destruction. The 2 auras strangely fused and mutated, finally turning into the aura of extermination. In the end, the space quickly trembled, and the world became strange. After becoming a martial saint, the cultivation of his entire body had sublimated, and any skill or divine art could turn something rotten into something magical. At this moment, the power of the 9th heaven had already reached the transcendent state. The power of the 4th heaven was simply a taboo existence. At once, Li Lingshan's hands were clasped together and a pillar of light appeared. The pillar of light carried a forbidden power, and the powerhouses and armies in the world trembled when they saw this attack. Li Lingshan's cultivation stayed aside. The destructive taboo power of the light pillar alone was enough to make a martial god powerhouse feel fear. In the air, the light beam blasted toward the palm shadow. All the experts stared at the 2 destructive attacks, their hearts thumping non-stop. Boom! Finally, the 2 attacks collided. From the moment Li Lingtian unleashed the Binghua 9 heavens to the moment the 2 attacks collided, the entire process seemed to take a long time, but it was only a blink of an eye. The 2 attacks collided, and space began to shatter. Then, a halo burst out. The destructive halo was like a collision between planets. Wherever the halo passed by, everything was destroyed. Even the air was destroyed. This space within 1,000 miles was a vacuum. Only the 3 black-robed experts, Yuneotan, and the gorilla demon were floating steadily in the air. The destructive halo pushed Qingling and Tang Qingyue 10 miles before stabilizing. Crimson Light Heavenly Monarch. The 2 attacks cancelled each other out and both Li Lingtian and Hai Gemming were forced back. Seeing this scene, the experts in the distance were all shocked. They looked at the 2 of them in shock. They were shocked by the martial god's terrifying means and were even more shocked by Li Lingshan's dominance. A martial saint powerhouse was actually able to fight the martial god without falling into a disadvantage. Li Lingshan's heart skipped a beat as he was utterly shocked. A martial god powerhouse was indeed a martial god powerhouse. Although the martial god powerhouse he encountered this time was also at the first heaven, he was stronger than Wu Dao. He was the only one who knew how strong the power of the ninth heaven was. The power of the fourth heaven was many times stronger than that of a martial saint. However, such a powerful power did not injure the other party, let alone kill him. In a battle between experts, victory and death were in the blink of an eye. One's entire spirit and concentration did not dare to be distracted. Moreover, in a battle, all the calculations and experience were the key to victory and death. As he retreated, he had already summoned Heavenly Monarch Crimson Light. He already had a battle plan in his heart. When facing a martial god expert, he had to use his most powerful attacks and methods. Crimson Light Heavenly Monarch appeared in his hand and locked his consciousness onto high gemming. He did not even look at high gemming. Shh! Countless powerhouses gasped when they saw the overbearing Crimson Light Heavenly Monarch in Li Lingshan's hand and the pressure that could crush a martial saint powerhouse. With such a divine weapon, they already had a heaven-defying advantage. Boom! Boom! Whoosh whoosh! In the air, Heavenly Monarch Crimson Bright's ancient divine weapons pressure continued to crush the space. Although Heavenly Monarch Crimson Bright could not unleash the power of an ancient divine weapon in Li Lingshan's hands, it had already reached the level of a supreme divine weapon. Even the power and pressure of a peerless divine artifact was not something that martial artists could withstand. Just the pressure of this peerless divine artifact was already the nemesis of martial god powerhouses. However, no one recognized the origin and power of the treasure in Li Lingshan's hand. Nonetheless, the pressure was so terrifying that they could not help but tremble. Hai Gemming's expression was extremely grave. The Yin Qi had no effect on Li Lingtian. Furthermore, Li Lingshan's strength was extremely terrifying. From the previous attack, he could tell that Li Lingtian had already surpassed the realm of a martial saint. Now that he had taken out such a heaven-defying divine artifact, it would be strange if he wasn't afraid. However, he was excited and revealed a greedy heart. If he could obtain this miracle, his strength would increase by a large margin. Dark Sky Ice Arrow. He looked at Li Lingtian with a grave expression. Feeling the destructive pressure, his aura burst forth to resist the pressure in the air. With a flick of his divine sense, an exquisite small bow appeared in front of him. He then grabbed at the air with one hand, causing the space to tremble. A tearing sound could be heard from the air, as if the space had stopped tearing. Instantly, the small bow in his hand turned into a huge bow. His right hand slowly descended from the void. In his hand, there was a destructive profound Yin Qi. The profound Yin Qi was filled with coldness. 1,000-meter-long cold energy quickly fused and compressed. In the blink of an eye, the IO-meter-long Yin energy formed a 5-meter-long divine arrow that continuously emitted a destructive halo. Chapter 8:17. The Martial God Has Fallen. Terrifying profound Yin Qi continuously wrapped around the arrow. The heavenly Yin black ice arrow condensed from profound Yin QJ stirred the space, and the world trembled at this moment. The 10-meter-long arrow was knocked on the strong bow, and a bolt of lightning instantly descended from the sky. The high heavens also felt this destructive power, as if it wanted to destroy the destructive power of this long arrow. At that moment, Li Lingshan's eyes were filled with shock. When the bow was aimed at him, it was as if the Grim Reaper was staring at him. His entire body felt threatened by death. This was the first time he had encountered such a threat since he came to this world of powerhouses. Feeling the threat of death, Li Lingshan's heart trembled. But at this moment, he did not dare to hesitate anymore. Crimson Light Heavenly Monarch waved his hand, and the destructive dark Yin fire shone on his body. A terrifying power filled the entire space. The Crimson Light Heavenly Monarch was an ancient divine weapon. With Li Lingshan's current cultivation base and his control, he could double the Crimson Light Heavenly Monarch's power. Double the power and speed. Such a terrifying existence could only be achieved by Heavenly Monarch Crimson Light. Hush! At this moment, all the true essence in his body was sucked dry. He used up all his true essence and slashed out a destructive light towards the other party. The two of them were less than 10 miles apart, and the destructive power bombarded each other fiercely. So, boom! The heavenly sound Dark Frost arrow left the bowstring and shot through the void toward Li Lingtian. There was the sound of air being torn apart as Li Lingshan's Crimson Light Heavenly Monarch's attack came slashing down. The two attacks carried the power to tear through the air. The space in front of the two attacks continuously trembled and wailed. Countless experts and armies were stunned at this moment. The two destructive attacks were not something a martial saint could withstand. They could kill any expert. The 30 million soldiers and tens of thousands of experts tensed up, their hearts already in their throats. This attack should be the final attack between the two of them. The outcome would be decided in one blow. If Li Lingtian were to win, the battle would basically be a victory. If Li Lingtian were to lose, he would either be destroyed or injured. No matter which one it was extremely extreme. This kind of situation made anyone feel nervous. In the sky, there was no sound other than the two sounds of air being torn apart. All the experts quieted down, their eyes fixed on the two attacks. The martial god powerhouse's attack and the omnipotent powerhouse's monstrous Li Lingshan's attack were two attacks that were rarely seen in the Black Continent. At this moment, the two terrifying powerhouses were clashing against each other. Time seemed to have stopped at this moment. He didn't know how much time had passed. A moment, a second, a century, or forever. Finally, Crimson Light Heavenly Monarch's light power and the terrifying power of the Heavenly Melody Dark Frost arrow collided. Gotcha! Space was torn apart by two destructive forces. All the experts in the army were startled awake. They were even more nervous at this moment because victory and defeat would appear at this moment. Ah! 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 In the sky, destructive power began to tear apart. Terrifying force winds continuously tore apart the experts in the sky. There were no armies or experts within 1,000 miles, but from 1,000 miles away, the strong wind and force could still affect them. Moreover, Yuneotian and the other martial god experts also felt the destructive power. They quickly cast the terrifying martial god defense to protect themselves and prevent the destructive power in the air from tearing them apart. At the same time, they focused their attention on Li Lingtian and the black-clad powerhouses. They would take action at the first sign of trouble. Boom! With a shocking explosion, Crimson Light Heavenly Monarch and the Heavenly Melody Dark Frost arrow exploded with destructive power in the air. The two forces exploded, and the space was instantly vacuum. A pitch-black hole appeared in the sky. Ah! Puff! At this moment, Hai Jeming's face was filled with despair. This was because he had never expected such a situation to occur. The power of the Heavenly Melody Dark Frost arrow was enough to kill Li Lingtian. This move was his trump card, his final trump card. However, Li Lingshan's Crimson Light Heavenly Monarch was too terrifying. Two attacks were unleashed at the same time. To his surprise, Li Lingshan's Crimson Light Heavenly Monarch's speed and attack were twice as powerful as Li Lingshan's maximum. It had twice the attack and twice the speed. With speed, the attack would break through the resistance of space. Speed and attack would complement each other to achieve the most powerful effect. With such terrifying speed, the attack had already collided with Heavenly Monarch Crimson Light's attack the moment the Heavenly Melody Dark Frost arrow was shot out. Hai Jeming became the center of the explosion. If the two attacks had collided in the middle, he would not have been so unlucky. However, Li Lingshan's attack was too fast, causing the explosion to occur not too far away from Hai Jeming. With a miserable cry, his body retreated backward. At that moment, Li Lingtian spat out a mouthful of blood as his body flew backward. However, at this moment, a strange distortion appeared in the air. Mysterious Sky Divine Arrow. At the same time, a sweet voice sounded. As the voice fell, the strange distortion arrived in front of Hai Jeming. A passage seemed to have been opened in the center of the distortion. At this moment, all the martial saints finally saw clearly that this passageway was condensed by destructive spiritual energy. The destructive spiritual energy condensed into a spatial passageway, but there was an ancient long arrow in this passageway. By the time they saw it, the arrow had disappeared into the air. Mysterious Sky Divine Arrow. Time waits for me. At this moment, Hai Jeming's eyes were filled with despair. His body froze in the air and he didn't retreat. However, when she cried out in surprise, her voice was filled with unwillingness. In the end, screams rang out. The ancient arrow had already pierced through him, and his body quickly turned into pieces. Li Lingtian spurted out another mouthful of blood, but he managed to stabilize himself. A girl hugged him from behind and stabilized his retreat. Rumble! The space exploded at this moment, and the destructive force wreaked havoc. All of this was too strange. From the start of Li Lingshan's battle to Hai Jeming being attacked by the godly arrow, the entire process seemed to take centuries, but it only took 10 seconds. However, Li Lingshan's 2 attacks were on par with the martial god's Hai Jeming. However, Hai Jeming was tricked by Li Lingshan's speed in the end. Although it was unexpected, Li Lingtian was right about it. One was intentional and the other was unintentional. The ending was too unexpected. At the same time, all the experts in the army were stunned. In just 10 seconds, the expert of the Sea Pavilion, Ming Wu, had died. The martial god, Hai Jeming, had fallen. Moreover, he had fallen at the hands of a martial emperor girl. A few girls appeared beside Li Lingtian. One of them stopped Li Lingtian and supported him while the others stood beside him. These girls were all peerless and charming, stunning the world. One of the girls looked extremely cute and delicate, but she held an exquisite bow in her hand. He waved his hand in the air and an exquisite short arrow appeared in his hand. At this moment, all the soldiers and experts realized that Hai Jeming was really unlucky. He had never thought that a martial god expert would fall at the hands of this delicate girl. As it turned out, Huangfu Yuyan and the others had been waiting for an opportunity on the war god when Li Lingtian was fighting Hai Jeming. In the end, Ji saw the opportunity and unleashed the mysterious heavenly divine arrow, tearing through the void to kill Hai Jeming. Free and unfettered empire. Free and unfettered empire. Young Master, Young Master. Young Master D, Young Master D. On the battlefield, after a short period of silence, it was suddenly in an uproar. The 30 million soldiers cheered, and countless experts cheered. In an instant, the morale of the army soared. At this moment, the Freedom King dynasty had already become the most dazzling kingdom in everyone's eyes. All the soldiers and experts were proud to be citizens of the Xiaoyao dynasty. The countless experts from the various kingdoms watching the battle from afar were completely shocked. From the start of the war, the Xiaoyao dynasty had swept forward with an invincible force. Ever since Li Lingtian appeared in Shenzhou, he had been an undefeated miracle. All right, Hai Jeming has been dealt with. Let's do it together. I don't want to waste time. After stabilizing his injuries, Li Lingtian looked coldly at Bai Yunbian, Bai Yuntian, and Xingliu as he spoke calmly. As the sound of his voice faded, his divine sense moved, and a medicinal pill appeared in the air. He then placed the medicinal pill into his mouth. Instantly, the primeval essence that was originally exhausted was instantly restored at this time. What kind of medicinal pill is this? He can actually recover his true energy instantly. He can recover the true energy of a martial sage. A saint alchemist is indeed a saint alchemist. The #1 saint alchemist in the divine martial continent is indeed powerful. This is too heaven-defying. It can instantly recover true essence. If I had such a pill, I wouldn't have to worry about the problem of true essence. This is the heaven-defying power of the #1 alchemy saint. Countless powerhouses were shocked when they saw Li Lingshan's true essence recover in an instant. They could not help but discuss among themselves. Similarly, Bai Yuntian and the other two were shocked when they saw Li Lingshan's depleted vital essence recover in an instant. It was bad luck to meet such a person. The battle just now had exceeded their expectations. They did not expect Li Lingtian to be so powerful. The fact that he was so powerful that he could kill a martial god like Hai Jeming in just a few moments was already a symbol of invincibility and immortality. Even if a martial god couldn't defeat him, he could still escape. But now, Hai Jeming had been killed in the blink of an eye. In the sky, there was no other sound other than the discussions of the experts. After Li Lingtian spoke, Bai Yunbian, Bai Yuntian, and Xingliu looked at Li Lingtian with a grave expression. The atmosphere was extremely tense. Chapter 818, Light of Reincarnation, 1. Alright, in that case, let's do it. Bai Yuntian pondered for a moment as he looked at the countless experts and armies. The City of Heaven's roars had already been destroyed. Everyone here was from the carefree empire, while the rest were merely spectators. Li Lingshan's strength was too terrifying. Furthermore, he had a few helpers. This was beyond their imagination. Everything was beyond their expectations. The situation had become serious. If they did not take action, they would be destroyed in this place. After saying that, he exchanged a glance with Bai Yunbian and Qingliu. Immediately, his body quickly separated, forming a strange formation. Swoosh, swoosh. Roar. Immediately, Yun Aotan and Tian Chengzi flashed and flew towards the clear stream and the white cloud. The gorilla demon roared and charged towards Bai Yun Tian. In an instant, the three martial god powerhouses and Li Lingshan's helpers were engaged in a fierce battle. In the air, waves of destructive energy swept across, and space began to shatter at this moment. Li Lingtian glanced at Tang Qingyue and the others before nodding. He quickly retreated and returned to the war god. Countless experts knew that this battle was basically a foregone conclusion. The Carefree dynasty fought against the Kingdom of Heaven's Roars, destroying the 20 million troops of the Kingdom of Heaven's Roars. Heaven's Roar's capital city was already destroyed, no longer having the appearance of a capital city. Li Lingshan's reputation was even greater. He had single-handedly killed a martial god powerhouse in the blink of an eye, destroyed the forbidden formation Divine Pearl, and cast the Lost Formation. The four great kingdoms were about to be unified. After that, the Great Shang Kingdom would become history. Naturally, the Carefree dynasty would become even stronger. At that time, they would be able to unify the other kingdoms even faster. Boom! 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 Roar! In the sky, space was continuously torn apart. 6 figures flashed rapidly. The gorilla demon's huge and heavy body was also as fast as lightning. This was the first time a battle between martial god realm experts had happened in the Black Continent. All the experts in the army were stunned when they saw the battle between martial god realm experts. The destructive aura caused all the experts and armies within 10,000 miles to retreat far away. At this moment, only the 9-headed war god was floating within a radius of 10,000 kilometers. Only the war god's array and defense could withstand the destructive power of the war god's battle. Li Lingtian stood on the war god with a calm expression on his face. The blood at the corner of his mouth had long been wiped away by Tang Ziming One's silk handkerchief. Tang Genji and the others stood by Li Lingshan's side and waited for the battle to end. However, despite his calm expression, Li Lingtian was puzzled. Although the 4 martial god powerhouses had cultivated the chilling Yin energy and possessed terrifying strength, they had also killed Hai Gemming in the beginning. However, he still felt that something was wrong. The body of the secret agent was killed by Yin poison, and Hai Gemming and the other 3 didn't have such strength. No matter how terrifying the cold Yin cultivation technique was, it could not reach such power. In other words, these 4 people were not the ones who killed the spy at all, or rather, it was someone else. Someone else? Li Lingshan's heart skipped a beat as his expression changed. Big brother Ling Tian, what's wrong? Tang Ziming quickly asked when she saw Li Lingshan's expression. She thought that there was something wrong with Li Lingshan's injury. Huang Fu Yuyan and the others immediately turned to look at Li Lingtian. Not good. There's another expert hiding here. Li Lingtian whispered in a serious tone that only Tang Qingyue and the others could hear. There are other experts? Instantly, the girls looked at Li Lingtian in shock. It was already heaven, defined to have 4 martial god powerhouses. If there were other powerhouses, what kind of concept would that be? There must be something strange about the fact that there were so many martial god powerhouses in the capital city of Heaven's Roars. Yes, these 4 martial god experts are not the ones who killed the spy we saw before. It must be someone else. Li Lingtian nodded as his expression returned to normal. However, his divine perception was still scanning his surroundings for fear of a sneak attack. However, the surroundings were extremely quiet. There were no experts hiding at all. The more this was the case, the more worried Li Lingtian was. His gaze shifted to the place where Yun Aotan and the others were fighting. He paid attention to the scene of the battle. If anything unexpected happened, he would attack immediately. Even if he was injured, he would not let his 3 martial god helpers die. After all, it was rare to have 3 martial gods as helpers. If one of them was missing, it would affect the future of the Carefree dynasty. Rumble! 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 Explosions continued in the air. Bai Yuntian and the others were almost on par with each other. Even though Yun Aotian and the other had just broken through, they were both super experts among super experts. They had obtained an ancient inheritance and their strength was extremely terrifying. For a moment, the three battle groups were evenly matched. It was impossible to determine the victor. However, at this moment, a strange change occurred in the battle. Cold, absolute, poison, heaven, earth, change. Reincarnation light. Bai Yuntian, Bai Yunbian, and Qinglu actually gave up on attacking and retreated. At the same time, a pale green jade scepter appeared in their hands, and they kept chanting mysterious incantations. The speed of the entire spell was extremely fast. In the end, a destructive green light exploded in the air. The entire process happened in an instant. The entire battlefield was covered by the pale green light that descended from the void. Instantly, the entire battlefield was imprisoned. The pale green light carried a destructive aura. Yun Aotian, Tian Qingzi, and the gorilla demon all revealed terrified expressions. He looked extremely painful. The pale green light quickly pressed down, as if it wanted to crush Yun Aotian and the others. However, Bai Yunbian and the others didn't pose any threat in the light at all. They were as relaxed as fish in water. Trash. You can't even handle such a small matter properly. You even need the Ancestor to do it personally. In the air, a vast voice sounded. When the voice fell, a phantom appeared above the pale green light. At this moment, the pale green light was a light shield that enveloped Yun Aotian and the others. The shadow could not be seen clearly, but its body emitted an aura of destruction and death. The entire shadow seemed to be formed by the cold separation. As expected, Li Lingtian was shocked to the core. With a flash, his entire body burst forth with destructive power. He was already suspended in the air and his aura had reached its peak. The sudden change just now was only in an instant. By the time he reacted, Yun Aotian, Tian Qingzi, and the gorilla demon had already been imprisoned. Moreover, this phantom seemed to have been in the pale green light all along. The light was the light of reincarnation. Li Lingtian was an array master and was proficient in the cultivation techniques of the human race, the infernal race, and the underworld. Naturally, he knew that the light of reincarnation was a cultivation technique of the underworld, and it was an extremely vicious and terrifying cultivation technique. At this moment, he did not dare to hesitate anymore. He circulated the power in his entire body to the limit. With a flick of his consciousness, the divine martial black heavenly sword appeared in his hand. His eyes flashed with a cold light. Divine martial profound heaven sword. The sword will destroy the world. Die! Li Lingtian shouted as he unleashed his metal Dao intent. At the same time, a destructive sword intent soared into the sky. He stretched out his hand and the divine martial black heavenly sword in his hand smashed fiercely at the phantom with a destructive cyclone. Instantly, the void was destroyed. At this moment, the void destruction had already been used. The sword light pierced through the void. Wherever the sword light passed, there was a black hole space. There was no time or space. When the sword light appeared, it had already arrived in front of the phantom. Boom! The destructive black hole struck the shadow, and a shocking explosion sounded. The green light disappeared. Yun Aotian, Tian Qingzi, and the gorilla demon were finally rescued. Ah! Ah! Two screams sounded at the same time. The power of the void destruction swallowed by Yunbian and Qinglu. In the blink of an eye, they disappeared into the black hole. Bai Yuntian was thrown out as well. His eyes were filled with despair, but amidst the despair, there was a cruel look. The jade scepter in his hand shattered at this moment, and the world instantly trembled. The green light appeared once again. When the green light appeared, Bai Yunshan's entire body was corroded by the green light. The cold yin qi on his body burst out, but the cold yin qi quickly disappeared into the green light. This change in the sky caused all the troops and experts to be shocked, as if they had seen a ghost. There really were ghosts in this world. This green light was even more terrifying than ghosts. Kaka kaka. Hee 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 hee. An ear-piercing and cold laughter rang out. The illusory figure floated in the air again. The illusory figure's body was even more solid, and there was a faint green color to it. It was obvious that it was formed by a green light. Furthermore, the green light became even more terrifying after absorbing by Yunshin's vital essence and Yin energy. Whoosh whoosh. Yun Aotian, Tian Qingzi, and the gorilla demon had returned to the edge of the war god to protect Tang Ziming and the others. They were extremely afraid. If it were not for Li Lingshan's forceful attack, the light of reincarnation would not have been broken and they would have been killed. So it's you. Li Lingtian looked at the shadow in horror before he looked at the reincarnation light that was swirling around the shadow. He was extremely shocked before he finally spoke in a calm voice. The aura of this shadow was the terrifying figure that killed the secret agents. Junior, you are unlucky to have met me. You are powerful, but in front of me, you are not even comparable to an ant. The illusory figure spoke in an aged manner. His emerald green eyes were fixed on Li Lingtian as his body morphed into various forms. He was no longer a human but a terrifying monster. All the experts in the army could not help but tremble. There was no way to attack such a monster. If even Li Lingshan's destructive attack could not kill it, what other attack could defeat it and kill it? Everyone understood that this phantom could not be killed by attacks at all. Chapter 819. Dark Nether Ancestor. Is that so? Li Lingshan's expression was extremely grave as he could not think of any way to fight against the phantom. This phantom was not a physical entity at all. It was impossible to attack it. Moreover, this phantom was extremely terrifying. The power of the light of reincarnation and the cold air could kill any expert below the martial god realm. He was helpless against this old man. However, he was still calm. He circulated his ice soul martial soul to stabilize his mind. The true essence in his entire body was circulated to the extreme. The 5 elements sacred body was activated at this time, and the 5 elements Tao intent was also circulated. The 5 elements Tao intent raged in the air. Li Lingshan's entire body seemed to have blended into this world. Water Tao intent. As he spoke to himself, the air suddenly became damp. Gradually, the sound of running water could be heard between heaven and earth. In an instant, the sound of rumbling could be heard in the air, as if a river was rolling. However, the voice suddenly stopped. The air became extremely frozen, as if it was going to freeze the world. Coupled with the shadow's cold aura, this world had completely turned into a frozen century. Li Lingtian extended his hand in the air, and a strange flame appeared in his palm. His palm was also flickering with a strange icy flame. Ice flame! Instantly, countless powerhouses recognized the icy frost flame in Li Lingshan's hand. When they saw it, they could not help but shudder. This icy frost flame was a warrior's nemesis. It surpassed all kinds of attributes and could not be restrained by flames. There was ice in the flames, and the ice formed a strange ice flame. It was not flames and ice at all, but a mutation of flames and ice. No one could say whether this ice flame was flames or ice. However, Li Lingtian understood that the icy frost flame could change in front of him according to his mood and thoughts. After the appearance of the ice flame, the space began to tremble as if it could not withstand the destructive tremors of the ice flame. Furthermore, the ice flame in Li Lingshan's hands grew stronger and more numerous. Gradually, the ice that was originally only the size of a fist had grown to a meter in diameter. It was like a ball of destructive power that could explode at any time. At the same time, the world, time, and space seemed to have frozen. Last time, Li Lingtian had obtained an endless supply of icy frost flames at the exit of the ice palace in the demonic canyon. He did not have the time to refine the icy frost flames after absorbing them. However, ever since he obtained the icy frost flame, he had never forgotten about it. All these years, he had been refining the icy frost flame. Only after he reached the martial saint realm did he truly refine the icy frost flame. The current ice flame was enough to destroy the world. Not bad, not bad. Today, I'll teach you the power of the Yin Qi and the light of reincarnation. The shadow trembled slightly when it saw Li Lingshan's ice flame, but its expression could not be seen. After the voice was heard, the shadow disappeared in a strange manner. However, the pale green reincarnation light in the sky flashed and quickly pressed down on Li Lingtian. At that moment, Li Lingtian waved his hand and the frost flame in his hand turned into a ray of light that pressed down on the opponent's reincarnation light. At the same time, his figure disappeared, as if he had disappeared into thin air. Roar! Roar! In the sky, before the light of the ice flame and the light of reincarnation collided, Li Lingshan's roar was heard. His voice was like a dragon's roar that shook the 9 heavens. However, Li Lingshan's figure was nowhere to be seen and his shadow was nowhere to be seen. One man and one shadow hid in the air as they constantly flashed and attacked. No one could see what attacks the shadow and Li Lingtian were using, nor did they know what was going on. Tang Qingyue and the others were also extremely worried. They could not tell the cultivation of this phantom, but it was extremely terrifying. They could not use their attacks to fight at all. Encountering such an expert, he had no confidence at all. Chi 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 chi, si 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 si. Boom, boom, boom. At this moment, the light screen formed by the icy flame finally collided with the light of reincarnation. Immediately, a sizzling sound appeared in the air, and the space continuously trembled and tore. Furthermore, there were continuous explosions. The entire space trembled as if it was about to be destroyed at any moment. However, after the two extreme destructive forces collided, it was a tie. At least, it was impossible to tell who was the winner for the time being. Puchi! With a dull thud, Li Lingtian appeared in the air with a pair of crystal-clear wings on his shoulders. There was blood at the corner of his mouth. At this moment, his entire spirit was greatly damaged, and his face was pale. At the same time, the shadow appeared in the air. No one could tell what was going on with the shadow. However, the shadow did not attack Li Lingtian after it retreated. Countless powerhouses were baffled by this situation. Because the phantom had no expression and no physical body, it was impossible to tell if it was injured or if its expression had changed. True Dragon Qi. Li Lingshan's body was emitting waves of cold-yin qi. This cold-yin qi was obviously the damage that the phantom had inflicted on Li Lingtian. The cold-yin qi continued to erode Li Lingtian. However, Li Lingshan's 5-element sacred body quickly converted the cold-yin qi into true essence and turned it into a resource. Moreover, Li Lingshan's aura was rising rapidly and his aura was changing. His body rapidly changed, and finally, he turned into a phantom, a divine dragon. After the true dragon phantom appeared, the world was torn apart. The power of the divine dragon was earth-shattering. Divine dragons were the most powerful of the myriad races. Their power tore through the void and destroyed the world. Li Lingtian transformed into a 100-meter-long phantom true dragon and unleashed his shocking dragon energy. After the true dragon body barrier reached the 5th level, it would be the true dragon power. After reaching the 5th level, one could completely transform into a divine dragon. The might of the true dragon's power was just that overbearing. Furthermore, Li Lingtian activated the dragon energy of the 3,000 worlds in the divine dragon ring with a flick of his divine consciousness. The dragon energy of one world surged out and quickly entered Li Lingshan's body. The domineering true dragon qi corroded the air, and the entire world became true dragon qi. True dragon body. There's true dragon qi. What a terrifying true dragon qi. I didn't expect him to cultivate such a tyrannical cultivation technique. Who else in this world can compare to his defense? It's a true dragon. It's actually reached the level of a true dragon. The true dragon can transform into a phantom. It's just right to fight against the phantom. What a terrifying true dragon QJ. In the sky, countless powerhouses who were watching the battle stared at Li Lingtian in horror. Everyone knew that Li Lingtian was at the 5 elements perfection and possessed incredible strength. However, he did not expect Li Lingtian to cultivate the most powerful dragon tribe cultivation technique in the world. The dragon tribe no longer belonged to the demon tribe because he was the supreme being of the demon tribe. He had surpassed the demon tribe and had become a noble race like humans. In terms of strength, the dragon race was the strongest in this world. Now that Li Lingtian had cultivated the true dragon's strength, it was evident how powerful he was. With the appearance of the true dragon power, the phantom also shook. Immediately, the phantom flashed rapidly and charged toward the true dragon phantom that Li Lingtian had transformed into. Boom! 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 An explosion sounded in the air. This sound had already suppressed the sounds of the ice flame and the light of reincarnation. The two phantoms, the true dragon phantom, carried a destructive dragon qi. The domineering dragon qi was on par with the cold qi of the phantom. The pale green light of reincarnation on the phantom's body also kept colliding with the dragon Qi. I know who you are. Li Lingshan's voice rang out in the air. Instantly, countless powerhouses pricked up their ears to find out what the phantom was. Haha, it's too late for you to know now. The phantom laughed loudly. His voice was unbridled and he did not take Li Lingtian seriously at all. The 10 great venerables of the icebound snow region. Dark Nether Ancestor. Li Lingtian shouted. His voice reverberated throughout the world and the world trembled in front of his voice. All the experts in the army heard it clearly. After hearing this voice, they were all shocked, and their expressions kept changing. The icebound snow region was the most mysterious and terrifying place in the divine martial continent. Legend had it that there were 10 venerables. Only 9th-tier martial god experts could be venerables. No one dared to enter the icebound snow region. For countless tens of thousands of years, no one had entered the icebound snow region, and no experts had left the icebound snow region. This icebound snow region was like an independent world. Another important thing was that the icebound snow region was located in Yuzhou province, which was close to the demon race. The icebound snow region was also regarded as a desolate land by the divine martial continent. He did not expect this phantom to actually come from the icebound snow region. Even if this phantom was only a venerable's clone, it was enough to defy the heavens. That's right. Since you already know, then die. The mysterious man did not quibble because Li Lingtian had seen through his cultivation base and cultivation technique. He wanted to hide it from others but he could not hide it from Li Lingtian. Li Lingtian was too mysterious and powerful. He was knowledgeable, had terrifying strength and unfathomable means. If it were not for the item in Li Lingshan's possession, he would not have left the frozen snow region to deal with Li Lingtian. It was unwise to provoke Li Lingtian. Light of the Netherworld, light of reincarnation, fuse. Judgment of heaven and earth. As soon as the mysterious man finished speaking, his body flashed and disappeared. When he reappeared, he had already arrived at the place where the reincarnation light and the ice flame were. He grabbed with one hand and the reincarnation light quickly disappeared. Losing its target, the ice flames fiercely bombarded the phantom. However, the phantom vanished into thin air and the icy frost flame lost its target once again. In the end, it quickly shot toward Li Lingtian. It entered Li Lingshan's glabella and turned into nothing before entering his dantian. At this moment, the mysterious man appeared again. He waved his hands casually and a beam of dark light appeared. The dark light and the light of reincarnation fused together. Instantly the world trembled. The fusion of the two lights made the world even stranger. Chapter 820. Judgment of Heaven and Earth. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The air became gloomy, and only a mysterious and terrifying light descended from the void. The phantom also quickly entered the light. Instantly, the entire world was enveloped by this light. Ah! Chi-chi shi-shi. Rumble. In the distance, countless experts quickly turned to ashes, and countless armies fell. The army and experts quickly retreated. The war god's array formation quickly collapsed and disappeared, and space began to distort. Everything was distorted and corroded by this light. The Heaven Roar's capital city continuously melted and finally turned into a pile of sand and dust. When this terrifying scene appeared, all the armies and experts were shocked to death. Coldness, extreme poison. Li Lingshan's true dragon power was constantly suppressed. In the end, the powerful true dragon power was compressed to a size of only 100 meters. The terrifying corrosive and destructive power completely destroyed the true dragon Qi and continuously compressed it. Li Lingshan's figure vanished and he reverted back to his original form. He spat out a mouthful of blood as he watched the destructive radiance bombard him. This light was like the judgment of heaven and earth. It was as if it wanted to destroy this world and turn it into the underworld. The dragon energy of a world was compressed to the extreme. It crashed into Li Lingshan's body and finally entered his dantian. Li Lingshan's expression changed drastically when he saw this terrifying scene. Only he knew that no matter how powerful he was, he would not dare to devour the dragon energy of an entire world at once. Moreover, this was forcefully entering his dantian. If not for the true dragon body, he would have long been destroyed by his own dragon energy. He circulated the Heaven and Earth Reincarnation chant and quickly stabilized the balance of the dragon energy. Otherwise, the dragon energy would explode and be destroyed. If the dragon energy exploded, even a god would not be able to save him. After all, this was the dragon energy of the same world. He watched as the destructive judgment of heaven and earth descended. The light that could melt and erode all things in the world had already descended. Li Lingtian roared as his eyes turned bloodshot. 3 exquisite lotus-shaped runes appeared between his eyebrows. Then, a blood-red light burst out. Tisk! Instantly, the blood-red light pierced through the destructive light of heaven and earth judgment and shot directly towards the center of heaven and earth judgment. Damn it. Arg! A scream of agony rang out. However, the moment the scream died down, the illusory dark nether ancestor roared furiously, and the destructive light became even stronger. The blood-red radiance that Li Lingtian had cast earlier was the Eye of the Divine Soul. The Eye of the Divine Soul carried a divine consciousness attack. The Dark Nether Patriarch did not expect Li Lingtian, a martial saint, to dare to attack with his divine consciousness. Furthermore, his divine consciousness was so powerful that it had completely surpassed the realm of a martial saint. Even a level 1 or 2 martial god powerhouse did not possess such a powerful divine consciousness. She was accidentally attacked by Li Lingtian's divine consciousness. With his divine consciousness attacked, the destructive radiance paused for a moment. With this pause, Li Lingtian had found an opportunity. Li Lingtian's entire aura changed as the destructive radiance that was even more powerful descended. The expression on his face changed, and his entire person became extremely demonic. His hair fluttered in the wind, and there were blood-red runes on his glabella. His entire body emitted a terrifying aura, and he looked like a demon god. Saint Demon Quintessence. Li Lingtian roared as the Holy Demon Ring was activated. The terrifying holy demon energy inside entered his body. All the true essence in his body turned into demonic qi, true demonic qi, and there were traces of Saint Demonic Qi in the true demonic qi. At this time, his demonic cultivation had already reached an extreme. Even his true essence cultivation was not as powerful as the demonic cultivation method. After obtaining the true devil qi of Qing Wu's clone and the devil-suppressing qi of great demonic god Di Tian, his devil race cultivation had reached an unprecedented level. Instantly, a shocking amount of demonic QJ soared into the sky and bombarded the light. Boom! With an explosion, the shocking demonic qi directly pierced a hole in the light. Li Lingtian took the opportunity to burst out from the hole and left the light's shroud. He floated in the air and looked at the light of the heaven and earth judgment from afar. Demons. Demon race cultivation technique. What a powerful devil technique. The Dark Nether Patriarch was in the midst of the heaven and earth judgment, but his voice was filled with shock. He never expected Li Lingtian to possess such a heaven-defying devil cultivation method. Even the demons did not possess such pure demonic qi. Who was this Li Lingtian? He did not cultivate the most powerful 5 elements perfection of the human race, yet he had the Dragon Clan's cultivation method, and now he was the strongest cultivation method of the demons. His cultivation and methods had completely exceeded the imagination of the human race. Everything about this young man was heaven-defying, and earth-shattering. The cultivation technique of the demon race. He is a devil cultivator. 3rd cultivator of true virtue. Devil cultivator, demon cultivator, true body cultivation technique. As expected of a pervert. This Li Lingtian is no longer a genius but a perverted monster. This is too terrifying. Countless powerhouses looked at Li Lingtian from afar. They could only see that Li Lingtian's body was covered in black demonic qi. A monstrous demonic qi soared into the sky. Half of the sky was filled with cold light, and the other half was filled with destructive and terrifying demonic qi. Li Lingtian stood in the air like a demonic god. The sight of him shocked countless powerhouses and the army. On the other hand, the Carefree Empire's army and powerhouses were extremely excited. The stronger Li Lingtian was, the happier they were. I said that if you come to the Black Continent, you should stay in the Black Continent. Judgment of heaven and earth? I am heaven and earth. Can you judge me? Ha 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 ha, then I'll let you experience what it means to defy the heavens. I'm going against the heavens. Even the heavens can't stop me. You're just a small stepping stone. Li Lingtian laughed out loud as his hair fluttered in the wind and a terrifying demonic qi wafted through the air. At this time, the demonic qi could already resist the cold qi. This was because this cold Yin qi was transformed from the Yin Nether qi. The Netherworld was powerful, but the demon realm was also tyrannical and heaven-defying. When the two powerful auras clashed, it became a battle between the demon race and the dark race. He stretched out his hand and the Saint Magic Dragon Blade appeared in his hand. The Saint Magic Dragon Blade was the supreme treasure of the demons. Its power could destroy the world. It was a terrifying treasure for humans, demons, and any living being. As soon as he finished speaking, he swung his divine magic dragon blade. Suddenly, the space trembled for some reason. A light shadow flashed and appeared. When the light shadow appeared, the attack had already crossed 100 miles and struck the light of heaven and earth judgment. Gotcha! With a crisp sound, the light of the heaven and earth judgment was struck, and the true devil Qi fell. The heaven and earth judgment was destroyed under this attack. Yes! The light of Reincarnation and the light of Netherworld separated, and the shadow of the dark Nether Ancestor appeared in the air again. The shadow shook, and it was obvious that he was seriously injured. The dark Nether Patriarch looked at the Saint Magic Dragon Blade in Li Lingshan's hand and was lost in thought. However, all the experts could roughly guess the changes in the dark Nether Ancestor's heart. He was definitely shocked and afraid. The Saint Magic Dragon Blade was a supreme treasure of the demon race. It was extremely powerful. Even if the Saint Magic Dragon Blade was incomplete, its power was not something that Dark Nether Ancestor could withstand. The heaven and earth judgment was no longer a physical attack. Physical attacks could not pose any threat to it at all. However, the divine magic dragon blade carried demonic qi and its power was extremely mysterious. With one attack, it just happened to break the heaven and earth judgment. Very good. Today, even if I have to destroy this clone, I will destroy you. At this moment, the Netherworld Ancestor was already prepared to kill him. This was because he had witnessed how terrifying Li Lingtian was. He was only a martial saint now, but he was already so terrifying. If he waited for a few years, no one would be able to suppress him after his cultivation base had increased tremendously. By then, he would definitely become a future threat to the frozen snow region. Moreover, it would be impossible to obtain Li Lingshan's items by then. Furthermore, the frozen snow region was in dire need of Li Lingshan's items. He had already made up his mind to eliminate Li Lingtian even if it meant the death of his clone. Light of Reincarnation, light of darkness, fuse. The power of my true body, sacrifice. The projection of the Dark Nether Patriarch erupted with terrifying Dark Nether Qi. The cold Yin Qi intensified at this moment, and the space continued to be destroyed. Suddenly, a mysterious pulling force appeared between heaven and earth. Li Lingtian did not dare to be careless at this moment. A strange glint flashed across his eyes as he used his divine consciousness to retract the divine magic dragon blade. Then, with a flick of his divine sense, a scepter appeared in his hand. Rumble! Rumble! When the scepter appeared, bolts of lightning descended from the heavens. Heaven and earth became extremely dark, and shocking demonic qi stirred in the air. This world had completely become a world of demonic qi. At this moment, Li Lingtian had completely become a demon powerhouse. He stood proudly in the sky and looked coldly at the projection of the Dark Nether Ancestor. At this moment, a strange power appeared in the void. As if some kind of seal had been broken, a destructive power descended on the phantom. Gotcha! Gotcha! The destructive power descended, tearing the space apart. It was like a mirror that was being shattered inch by inch. Roar! Roar! The projection of Dark Abyss Progenitor roared at this moment, and countless mysterious hand seals appeared. The destructive power in the sky became solid. The extremely dense cold air fell on the phantom like the water of the Milky Way. Seeing this scene, all the soldiers and experts were shocked. Their faces were filled with shock. This shocked expression was even more terrifying than seeing ghosts. Even Li Lingtian was shocked and his expression turned grave. This was the most solemn moment in this world. The shadow of the Dark Nether Ancestor quickly turned into a real human expert. My true body, my true Bodhis power. Li Lingtian cried out in surprise. Initially, he did not believe the phantom's words when it mentioned his true body power. He did not expect that he would actually summon his true body power. The power of the original body was a mysterious method used by the clone to summon a portion of the original Buddha's power to form a physical body and use destructive attacks. Chapter 821. Dark Nether Ancestor. Li Lingtian's heart trembled at the sight. He did not expect that the Dark Nether progenitor would summon his true body in order to kill him. It was a heavy price to pay. Even if Li Lingtian was killed, his original Buddha's cultivation base would be greatly reduced in the future. In the divine martial continent, his clone would not summon his original body unless it was absolutely necessary. Because this price was not something that a martial god expert was willing to pay. Moreover, only after becoming a martial god would there be an avatar. Martial god experts could cultivate avatars, but they did not dare to use them. Li Lingtian, it's your honor to have me here personally. I'll give you two choices. One is to commit suicide, and the other is for me to extract your soul and refine it. The Dark Nether Ancestor turned into a physical body. He was also dressed in black, and his face was extremely cold. Traces of anger were already on his face. It was indeed extremely furious to have his true body come here. You guys will never change your old habits. If the upper beam is not straight, the lower beam will be crooked. The young are arrogant, and the old are also arrogant. You can lie to others, but in front of me don't pretend. This is not your original body. It is impossible for a martial god expert to be summoned by a clone. You are only a portion of the original Buddha's strength. Do you really think I'll be afraid of you if you only use 1/10 of my power? Li Lingtian stared coldly at the Nether Spirit Patriarch as he felt the destructive cold air in the space and the vicious Nether Spirit power. The old man was many times stronger than the first phantom. A 9th firmament martial god venerable had incredible strength. Even a clone of his true body was not something a martial god could compare to. Let alone Li Lingtian, who was only a martial saint powerhouse. As he spoke, the demonic chi in his entire body soared. The saint demon scripture was heaven-defying and powerful. It was the strongest cultivation art of the devil race. Even the great demonic god Tian had never seen the saint demon scripture before. He had true devil chi and saint devil chi, and his power was heaven-defying and terrifying. Good, very good. You can actually see through my clone. Even if I only have 1/10 of my original strength, I can still crush you. The Dark Nether Patriarch's face was filled with malice. The martial god's aura was unleashed to the extreme and the destructive pressure continued to press down on Li Lingtian. There was a huge gap between the two of them in terms of cultivation level and they could easily suppress Li Lingtian with their pressure. Heavenly Demon Region. Li Lingtian could feel the terrifying pressure. Naturally, he knew that the Dark Abyss Patriarch was going to suppress him with his pressure and suppress his aura before he wiped out Li Lingtian. Naturally, he would not let go of this opportunity to kill two birds with one stone. However, Li Lingtian would not let him have his way. In terms of cultivation realm, he was miles away from a 9th firmament martial god supremacy. With his current cultivation realm, any martial saint could instantly kill him, let alone a king among martial gods. However, even though his realm was not a match for a venerable, he had countless methods. If he couldn't even match up to the other party, then he could only wait for death. Terrifying demonic chi gathered, and the heaven demon domain spread out. Instantly, a shocking pressure formed a domain that blocked the pressure of the Dark Nether Ancestor. Crash! Rumble! A series of explosions rang out as the destructive pressure continued to suppress Li Lingtian's heavenly demon domain. Li Lingtian was like a lone boat in the middle of a raging sea. However, the raging sea could not destroy the lone boat. All of a sudden, countless experts and the 30 million soldiers in the sky were shocked. Although the Dark Nether Patriarch was powerful, it was even more impressive for Li Lingtian to be able to withstand such destructive pressure. One should know that a warrior who was one level higher would be crushed to death, and the same applied to the pressure. Powerful warriors relied on their pressure to suppress lower-level warriors, but this iron rule was broken by Li Lingtian. In the heavenly demon region, a terrifying defense blocked the pressure of the venerable. Li Lingtian was shocked. 1/10 of a venerable's power was actually so terrifying. Fortunately, he had the heavenly demon region and the various treasures on him to protect himself. Coupled with the strong physique and defense of the internals, any other martial god powerhouse, even a first or second heaven martial god, would have been crushed to death by this pressure. Heavenly Wand. With the heavenly demon domain protecting him from the dark Nether Patriarch's pressure, Li Lingshan's eyes flashed with determination as he had the opportunity to store his energy. Demonic chi burst out, and the entire space shook. He waved the heaven wand in his hand, and the destructive demonic chi immediately condensed into a strange pillar of light. The pillar of light was like a huge arc of lightning that shot towards dark Nether Ancestor. Boom! A destructive explosion rang out. The power of the heaven wand ignored space and time. It was as if it had teleported. There was no difference in time at all. When the heaven wand was unleashed, its power struck dark Nether Ancestor's body. With an explosion, dark Nether Ancestor's body was thrown into the air, and the terrifying pressure disappeared. Shoo! Whoosh! All the experts in the army were in an uproar and let out a breath of cold air. They never expected Li Lingtian to send the Venerable One flying with a single blow. What kind of concept was that? Tyrant Demon Dragon Kill. True Demon God Destroying Palm. 9 Heavenly Demon Finger. At that moment, Li Lingshan's figure flashed as he swiftly chased after the Dark Abyss Patriarch without any hesitation or delay. The Heaven's Wand was already hovering in front of him as it followed Li Lingtian swiftly. The power of the Heavenly Demon region directly broke through the martial god's pressure in the air. Waving his hands, shocking demonic chi swept across as the first 3 moves of the 9 styles of Saint Devil were displayed. The first 3 styles of the 9 styles of the Saint Devil were the strongest secret techniques of the Devil race. Even the almighty Devil race didn't know of such a remarkable ability. This was because the 9 styles of the Saint Demon were only recorded in the true Saint Demon record. Each style was destructive and was the nemesis of all living things in the world. Immediately, destructive demonic chi swept across the world. Tens of thousands of demonic chi transformed into demonic dragons that bombarded dark Nether Ancestor. Furthermore, the true demon god destroying palm ignored the distance in space and sent out a palm print. After the palm print, Li Lingtian flicked his finger and a mysterious finger force tore through the air, locking onto the Dark Abyss Patriarch. Rumble! Rumble! Tisk! Puff! In the air, Li Lingtian was like a demon god as he pursued the enemy at high speed. The destructive demonic chi tore through the space continuously. The battle between the two was originally intended to eliminate the Warrior Sage's powerhouse, but it had turned into a fight between the Warrior Sage and the Warrior Sage. Between heaven and earth, there was a tacit understanding. Yin Chi shot in all directions. The entire space was extremely terrifying, as if it was the end of the world. At that moment, an explosion sounded as several attacks ruthlessly bombarded the Dark Nether Ancestor's body. At the same time, the destructive finger force pierced through the chest of the Dark Nether Ancestor, and a huge bloody hole appeared on his back. However, there was still a terrifying black aura lingering on the bloody hole, and it could not be healed at all. Dark Nether Ancestor spat out a mouthful of blood, and his body started to sway. His originally unstable body became even more unstable, as if he would turn into a shadow at any moment. A Supremacy's cultivation base was not something an ordinary expert could imagine. Even Li Lingshan's top-notch heaven-grade divine power could not injure the Dark Abyss Ancestor. However, the last 9 heavenly demon finger was almost as powerful as a saint-grade divine power. Furthermore, this finger force contained Saint Demon Chi, which completely destroyed the Dark Nether Ancestor's defense and injured him. The corrosive power of the Saint Demon Chi continued to devour the Dark Nether Ancestor's cultivation. Puff! Very good, very good. Today you can die. 3 kowtows of the Nether King. No calamity. Dark Nether's progenitor's body and mind kept shaking, and his expression was extremely ugly. He looked at the wound on his chest, and fear appeared in his eyes. This demonic chi had exceeded his imagination. He did not expect that he would be injured by this demonic chi. Moreover, this demonic chi was constantly devouring his cultivation. If he delayed any longer, his original body would be affected. Not only would his main body be affected, but it would also be impossible for him to kill Li Lingtian. The expression on his face changed and became sinister and terrifying. A cruel smile overflowed from the corner of his mouth. Immediately, the nether energy in his body circulated, and his true essence reached its limit. His hands kept changing into all kinds of hand gestures, and terrifying hand seals were formed. A power that came from afar appeared between the heavens and the earth. The true Yuan and Nether Chi of the Dark Nether Patriarch scattered in the air. In the blink of an eye, that power arrived beside the Dark Nether Patriarch. His quintessential essence and the Dark Nether Chi fused together. Li Lingtian shuddered when he felt the force. The 30 million strong army and tens of thousands of powerhouses were also trembling. He could tell that this force was the aura of 9 Nether City. It must be a summoning power from the underworld. If he hesitated any longer, he would only be waiting for death. Heavenly Magic Staff, your tacit understanding is monstrous. Li Lingtian reached out with one hand and grabbed the heavenly staff beside him. The heavenly staff transformed into a terrifying weapon that was 100 meters long before it was hurled at the opponent. At this moment, the demonic chi in the world was blasted down by the heaven staff. The power tore the space apart and split it into two. Just as he unleashed this power, the power unleashed by the Dark Nether Ancestor had already arrived and pressed down on him from all directions. Rumble! The two destructive forces collided with an explosive sound. Destructive demonic chi and umbra chi flew in all directions. However, Li Lingshan's body shook and he was quickly tossed out. The force of the Hades 3 kowtow had already materialized into a pair of 1,000-meter-long arms that smashed down on Li Lingtian. Li Lingtian felt insignificant and powerless before the arms. Li Lingshan's eyes were filled with despair as he watched the gigantic arms slam down on him. At that moment, Li Lingshan's despairing eyes flashed with surprise. He then activated the underworld ring in his hand with his divine sense. Hell King Blade. He took out a strange curved blade from the underworld ring with his divine sense. The curved blade emitted a dense green color and a destructive pressure. Suddenly, a mysterious pressure erupted in the air. This pressure was extremely cold, as if it wanted to freeze the space. Chapter 822. Hell King Blade 1. The Underworld King Blade was one of the 6 treasures of the Underworld that he had obtained in 9 Nether City. When he saw Dark Netherworld Ancestor perform Dark King's 3 kowtows, he immediately thought of the 6 treasures of the Netherworld. However, he did not know what treasure to use at that moment because none of the treasures had been refined except for Crimson Light Heavenly Monarch. In times of crisis, he could not care about anything else. He was like a drowning person grabbing at random, desperately trying to find a cure. Thinking of the Underworld King Blade, he summoned the Underworld King Blade with his divine sense. The Underworld King Blade went straight for the arm of the 3 kowtowing Underworld Kings. The aura of the two forces were exactly the same, but Li Lingtian had no idea at that moment. All he could think about was how to withstand the terrifying arm. If he could not withstand the attack, he would be destroyed. Crash! The sound of an item being shattered rang out. All the experts and the army in the air stopped at this moment. However, when they saw the situation in the sky, they were all stunned. Li Lingshan's casual display of strength had actually shattered the gigantic arm into pieces before it gradually turned into fragments and disappeared into the air. This situation was completely beyond the expectations of the powerhouses and the army. In their eyes, Li Lingtian would be severely injured if not killed. Tang Qingyue and the others almost cried out in surprise. However, they could not enter such a huge battle at all. By the time Li Lingtian was in danger, it would be too late for them to intervene. However, they did not expect Li Lingtian to be able to dispel the attack so easily. Puchi! The Dark Nether Patriarch had channeled all his strength into this attack. However, he was destroyed by Li Lingshan's Hell King Blade and suffered a devastating blow. Although he was known as the Dark World Ancestor, he did not cultivate a truly powerful technique of the Dark World. With the martial god's cultivation and powerful technique, he could already dominate the world. However, he did not expect to encounter the Underworld King's Blade, the most precious treasure of the Dark World. This was luck. Martial artists relied on strength and experience, but also luck. He spat out a mouthful of blood, and his entire body swayed as if he was about to dissipate at any moment. Hell King Blade? How could it be Hell King Blade? A look of terror appeared on the dark Nether Ancestor's face, and he was even more unwilling. He did not expect his luck to be so bad to meet this little freak. He had used all kinds of methods and even obtained so many terrifying treasures. Fighting with this little freak was really unlucky. Die! Without waiting for Li Lingshan's reply, an ethereal voice came from the distant void. The voice came suddenly, and as soon as the voice fell, a white light descended and struck the Dark World Patriarch. The white light was like a grand light, appearing strangely and disappearing in an instant. It came quickly and left even faster. Ah! Arg! With a miserable cry, the dark Nether Ancestor's body quickly dissipated and turned into a phantom. The phantom also disappeared. The dark Nether Ancestor had completely disappeared from this space. All that was left behind was the echo of screams that drifted in this space. Li Lingshan's face did not show any excitement as he watched the Dark Abyss Patriarch's demise. Instead, his expression turned grave. Who are you? Li Lingtian looked into the void in search of the owner of the voice. The owner of the voice had not appeared from the beginning to the end, but he had killed the Dark Abyss Patriarch. In the ethereal immortal realm Divine Palace, the heart of creation has appeared. When the divine martial 5 continents were unified, the heart of Tao Vindication seized the good fortune. In the void, a slight distortion appeared, like a ripple in a calm lake. When this ripple appeared, the voice sounded again. When the voice fell, the world returned to silence. Everything calmed down. The nether chi disappeared, and so did the cold chi. Li Lingtian stared blankly into the void. He was shocked that he had failed to discover the owner of the voice despite his array Tao cultivation and powerful divine consciousness. However, after a long time, the owner of this voice never appeared again, as if he had left. Li Lingtian realized that this person did not have any ill intentions. He activated the holy demon's quintessence and quickly absorbed the demonic chi between heaven and earth. In just a moment, the demonic chi in the air was absorbed and the aura in the air returned to normal. Boom! Young Master, Young Master. Young Master's cultivation is unparalleled. Sweep the Black Continent and unify the world. After a brief silence, the world erupted in cheers. All the soldiers and experts of the Xiaoyao dynasty cheered. The entire world trembled in their cheers. Countless experts who were watching the battle were also extremely shocked at this moment. From the appearance of the 4 martial gods to the appearance of the Venerable's clone, the process was unpredictable. In the end, the Venerable disappeared. The entire process was extremely dangerous. If one was not careful, they would disappear. The fate of the Carefree dynasty was also wavering. However, in the end, Li Lingtian still managed to defeat the Venerable One's clone. Although he was eventually killed by the mysterious powerhouse, Li Lingtian had defeated the Dark Abyss Patriarch with the Hell King Blade. As long as he was serious, the Dark Abyss Patriarch would not be able to kill Li Lingtian even if he could not kill the Dark Abyss Patriarch. The great battle had ended at this point. The situation in the middle was unpredictable. The great battle of a kingdom had evolved into a battle of array formations, and in the end, it had become a great battle of the martial gods. In the end, a martial saint actually fought a martial god. The outcome was beyond the expectations of all the experts. The powerhouses from the various kingdoms felt their hearts tremble when they saw Li Lingshan's strength. Li Lingtian was no longer a warrior sage powerhouse but a super powerhouse who had killed a martial god. In total, Li Lingtian had killed 6 martial gods. In other words, the martial god powerhouses who appeared in front of Li Lingtian were all killed by him. In the end, even the Venerable One was killed. Li Lingtian cultivated the Dragon Clan's cultivation method, the Devil Clan's cultivation method, and the Underworld's treasures. All of his methods were heaven-defying. This piece of information gave countless powerhouses and kingdoms a new understanding of Li Lingtian. Reorganize the army and attack the Great Shang Kingdom. Li Lingtian waved his hand and shouted. As soon as he finished speaking, his figure flashed and he returned to the war god. As soon as he entered the war god, he spat out a mouthful of blood. Puchi! He spat out a mouthful of blood and his expression became extremely ugly. In the beginning, he had been injured, but when faced with this terrifying martial god and venerable, he could only forcefully hold on. However, now that the powerful enemy had been dealt with, he could no longer hold on. Young Master! Young master. Big brother Ling Tian. Husband. Seeing Li Lingshan's condition, everyone cried out in surprise. Tang Qingyue and the others quickly rushed forward to protect Li Lingtian. She looked at Li Lingtian with concern. Li Lingtian had sustained heavy injuries in the battle. Find a quiet place. I want to cultivate and heal my injuries. For the battle, Ao Tian and the gorilla demon are enough. The two of you will assist in the battle and try to make the Carefree Empire have the strength to compete with the Mystic Moon Empire in a short period of time. Li Lingtian waved his hand and instructed Yun Aotian when he saw him. He then turned and entered the war god. This subordinate will do it now. Yun Aotian bowed seriously and left the war god. Tian Chengzi followed the war god. The war god quickly left the capital city of Heaven's Roars and flew into the distance. After the battle ended, the Carefree Dynasty's army was completely reorganized, clearing out the remaining forces of the Kingdom of Heaven's Roars. Li Lingtian and the rest left the capital city of Heaven's Roars and disappeared from sight. On the battlefield, there were only 30 million soldiers and countless elites from the Carefree Empire left. At this time, the nine-headed war god had the addition of the martial god Yun Aotian and a level 1 9th-tier demonic beast like the gorilla demon. To the army, it was definitely a killing weapon. With two war gods in the army, they were invincible. At the same time, the experts and secret agents of the various kingdoms told him about the outcome of the battle. In an instant, the entire Mystic Moon Empire was shaken. Li Lingshan's terror had given the powerhouses of the Mystic Moon Empire and the various kingdoms a new understanding. This Li Lingtian was not a martial saint at all. He was the nemesis of the martial god. He was so young, yet he was able to kill a martial god at the martial saint realm. Who would be able to suppress him in the future? Li Lingshan's reputation was the hottest topic in the Mystic Moon Empire as well as the kingdoms around it. Li Lingshan's reputation was comparable to the great emperors of the three great empires. Even the great emperors of the three great empires were not as famous as Li Lingtian. There was a saying in the Mystic Moon Empire and the surrounding kingdom, they would rather offend the kingdom than Li Lingtian. Indeed, there was nothing wrong with that. Li Lingtian was the divine martial continent's #1 divine alchemist, and he was able to refine peerless mutated pills. His cultivation was only at the first firmament of the martial saint realm, but he was already a martial god. Furthermore, it was not luck that he had killed the martial god. He had killed 6 martial god powerhouses in succession. The martial god powerhouses who had gone against Li Lingtian had all been killed. This Sir Lingtian's strength is too terrifying. The 25-year-old #1 divine pill refiner has earned him the title of #1 divine pill refiner in the divine martial continent. That's right. He reached the martial sage realm at the age of 25 and was actually able to kill a martial god realm expert. In 20 years, even if I kept cultivating, I wouldn't be able to reach the martial saint realm. Moreover, I'm cultivating the devil arts and dragon clan's arts. How did I cultivate? Looks like the Mystic Moon Empire is in danger. Have you heard? Other than the few kingdoms unified by the Xiaoyao dynasty, the other kingdoms have all made their moves. I've known about this for a long time now. The 6 kingdoms are fighting each other, and the kingdoms fear the Carefree Empire. Surrendering or resisting has become the most difficult choice for the kingdoms. Below the Mystic Moon Empire, there were matters regarding the Carefree Empire and a few other kingdoms. In the Mystic Moon Empire, the most talked about topics were Li Lingtian, the Carefree Empire, and the remaining kingdoms. However, the Mystic Moon Empire didn't move at all. This situation confused countless experts and kingdoms. Moreover, the Heavenly Sun Empire and the Sky Blue Empire had also taken action in secret. In an instant, the entire Xianzhou was in turmoil and flames of war rose everywhere. Chapter 823. The Furious Netherworld Ancestor, 1. After Li Lingshan's war god left the capital city of Heaven's Roars, it quickly flew into the distance. Within a radius of billions of miles around the Free and Unfettered dynasty, everything was under the Free and Unfettered dynasty's control. The original Moonsong Kingdom, 100 Spirit Kingdom, Yuhing Kingdom, Southwind Kingdom, and Heaven's Roars Kingdom had now become the combined 5 kingdoms of the Free and Unfettered dynasty, forming a huge dynasty. However, Li Lingtian knew that although the Carefree Empire was huge, Its true strength was not enough to fight against the Mystic Moon Empire. Even if all the kingdoms were united, they would not be a match for the Mystic Moon Empire. At this point, it was impossible to retreat. Moreover, this matter concerned Yun Yaoyao's information, so he couldn't retreat. Only after the army arrived at Mystic Moon Holy City could he see that mysterious girl in white again. That girl in white was the only person who knew about Yun Yaoyao. He wouldn't let go of a single detail about Yun Yaoyao. After flying for half a day, the war god finally arrived at the sea between the Kingdom of Heaven's Roars and the Kingdom of Epsilon. His injuries were very serious now, and he needed to find a safe place to recover. He naturally did not need to deal with these matters. Longda would naturally take care of them. In the end, the war god came to an island in the sea. The island was only 100 miles in radius, but the spiritual energy on it was extremely dense. The war god stopped at the edge of the island. The array was activated, and the war god was hidden. If no super powerful warriors came here, they wouldn't be able to discover the existence of the war god. Besides, there were no signs of humans on this island. No one had come here at all. Big brother Ling Tian, do you want us to help you? After settling down, Li Ling Tian and the others were still on the war god. However, the war god was as tall as an island and they could easily walk to the island. There were countless powerhouses on the war god and they were all supreme martial saints. They were all the most trusted subordinates of Longda, and all of them were at the fifth sky of martial saint realm. Although such experts were nothing in the war between the kingdoms, even the martial god might not have the confidence to defeat them when hundreds of fifth sky martial saints joined forces. The war god was the safest, and there was also a martial god like Tian Qingzi. Li Ling Tian sat cross-legged in the practice room. Tang Genji and the others stood by his side and watched him heal. In half a day's time, they had already checked Li Lingshan's injuries. This time, his injuries were more serious than before. The main reason was that when he used the true dragon qi, the true dragon qi of a world entered his dantian. With his cultivation, if not for the balance of the heaven and earth reincarnation art and his terrifying physique, he would have long disappeared. Furthermore, after the battle with the supremacy, the true dragon qi that he had forcefully suppressed was scattered everywhere. Fortunately, he had defeated the dark Nether Ancestor in the end. Right now, he was using the true dragon body barrier and the heaven and earth reincarnation art to suppress the true dragon qi on the war god. Tang Ziming asked seriously when she saw Li Ling Tian recuperating. If the five sisters worked together and Shenyuan Yingling's five-element sacred body, they would definitely be able to help Li Ling Tian. No need. The other injuries are nothing. It's mainly the true dragon qi. This true dragon qi can only be resolved by myself. Li Ling Tian spoke calmly before he gestured for Tang Ziming and the others to leave. He wanted to heal himself in the practice room. He was worried that the dragon energy that was destroyed this time would affect Tang Genji and the others. Then well, go out first. If there's anything, well, come in immediately. Huangfu Yuyan and the rest left the practice room and sat down to meditate not far away from the practice room. They took turns monitoring the place with their divine perception. If there was anything unusual, they would enter to help Li Ling Tian. After Tang Genji and the others left, Li Ling Tian slowly released the true dragon qi that was suppressed in his dantian. The dragon energy of a world was extremely terrifying. Although this dragon energy had already been used, it was forcefully suppressed into his body in the end, almost instantly destroying him. If he wanted to solve this problem now, he could only refine it. However, refining the dragon energy of a world was easier said than done. Swoosh swoosh swoosh. Swoosh swoosh swoosh. In the practice room, the strong wind kept swirling. The dragon energy was about to burst the practice room. Li Ling Tian activated the true dragon body barrier, used the heaven and earth reincarnation to balance his body, and used the five-element sacred body to stabilize the overbearing dragon energy. In an instant, Li Lingshan's entire body was suspended in the air. He sat cross-legged and spun rapidly in the direction of the dragon energy's rotation. The dragon energy in his body was also rapidly changing. Puchi! In the divine martial continent, there was a barren land. This place was called the Savage Land by the people of the divine martial continent. Although Yuzhou province was dominated by demons, those who knew the inside story didn't think so. Although the Serenity Plains didn't seem as powerful as the Black Continent and the Divine Continent, it was still a vast land, several times larger than the Black Continent. This place not only had the tacit understanding of the demon race, but also the sinister aura of the underworld. There was also the endless frozen snow region and a powerful mysterious race here. The icebound snow region was one of the most mysterious places in the divine martial continent. In the depths of the endless glaciers and snow region, an old man spat out a mouthful of blood. The old man's expression was extremely ugly, and his eyes were filled with killing intent. If Li Lingtian were to see this old man, he would be able to recognize him at a glance. This old man was none other than the Dark Nether Patriarch. However, the current Dark Nether Patriarch was his true body, and his strength was extremely terrifying. He was known as one of the 10 great supremacies in the icebound snow region, and a 9th firmament martial god supremacy. The old man sat cross-legged, but he spat out a mouthful of blood. Detestable, too detestable. How dare you kill my clone? I'll make sure you wish you were dead. Li Lingtian. And those from the divine palace of the immortal realms, this old ancestor will fight you to the death. The Dark Nether Ancestor opened his eyes, and a vicious light flashed in them as he spoke fiercely. At that moment, she hated Li Lingtian to the bone. His avatar had been defeated, and even his original Bodhis power had been destroyed. His current cultivation had dropped by more than half. He had originally reached the peak of the 9th level of the martial god realm, but now, he had almost fallen to the 9th level. Second brother, what's wrong? At that moment, another old man walked in. When he saw the Dark Nether Patriarch's appearance, a puzzled expression appeared on his face. However, when he realized that the Dark Nether Patriarch's cultivation had fallen, his expression quickly changed. In the end, his expression became extremely gloomy. Big brother, we failed this time. The Dark Nether progenitor looked at the old man who had come forward, and the anger in his eyes became even stronger. If it was not for the future of his frozen snow region, he would not have taken such a risk. Now that a few martial gods had died, his cultivation had also fallen. What? Failed? What happened? Why did your cultivation fall? Venerable Yin Xian exclaimed. To him, killing Li Lingtian was a piece of cake. No matter how powerful a martial saint powerhouse was, he was only a martial saint. Any martial god would be able to wipe him out. This time, in order to guard against the other martial god experts, they had sent 4 martial god experts. Moreover, the clone of the Dark Nether Ancestor had also gone with them. It was to ensure that those things would fall into the frozen snow region without any mishaps. How could he not be shocked when he heard the Dark Nether Ancestor say that the matter had failed? If the 4 war gods couldn't do it, other experts must have intervened. Moreover, his second brother's cultivation had fallen, which made him even more puzzled. There was no venerable in the Black Continent, so no one could stop them from doing good things. Big brother. That Li Lingtian is too terrifying. The first sky of the martial saint realm can cast all kinds of heaven-defying divine abilities. Their power is not something that ordinary martial saints can compare to. Moreover, he also controls several peerless divine artifacts. What's even more detestable is that he actually knows the cultivation techniques of the dragon race and the devil race. It actually broke my 3 kowtows of Hades. The Underworld King Blade was the one that broke the 3 kowtows of Hades. I don't know if it was someone from the immortal realm or the divine palace who attacked and completely killed my avatar. The Dark Nether Patriarch's face brimmed with anger. He wished he could tear Li Lingtian apart when he thought of him. He angrily recounted everything that he had encountered. When he spoke of Li Lingtian, there was a look of fear on his face in addition to his anger. Subconsciously, he was afraid of Li Lingtian. A young martial saint actually had such monstrous strength. It had completely exceeded the scope of his imagination. Similarly, the expression on Yin Xian's face kept changing. His second brother would not lie. Someone who could make his second brother so afraid must be extremely terrifying. However, he would never believe that a martial saint was so powerful. There's actually such a powerful martial saint. Looks like we can't keep this person alive. Otherwise, he'll be a future threat to my frozen snow region. He already knows that you're from the icebound snow region. Now that he's not strong enough, he naturally won't come to the snow region to find us. If we wait until his cultivation increases, he'll definitely be a future trouble for our snow region. Don't worry about this matter. It's better for you to stabilize your injuries and cultivation. I'll handle this matter. Let's see how long you can last for a mere martial saint. Yin Xian said indifferently. After that, he turned around and left the palace. Only the dark Nether Ancestor was left in the palace. The palace was eerie and cold. After the dark Nether Ancestor let out an angry voice, the attack fell silent. Li Lingtian had reached the most critical moment. The terrifying True Dragon's QJ continued to tear Li Lingtian apart. However, the True Dragon's body protection technique continued to recover. The 5 elements Sacred Body and Heaven and Earth Reincarnation art balanced his body so that it would not collapse. Li Lingtian's face was filled with agony. He spat out 2 mouthfuls of blood in a row, but his face looked much better after that. He exclaimed in surprise, and his expression became strange. The true essence in his body surged rapidly and actually reached the point of breaking through. This situation completely exceeded his expectations. He did not expect that the true dragon chi was not stable, and his realm actually loosened. It seemed that this battle had helped him a lot. Although he was injured, his realm had loosened. Chapter 824. Second Sky of the Martial Saint Realm. The loosening of the realm meant that there was a chance for a breakthrough. Originally, it was really difficult for experts to find an opportunity to break through. They were eager to break through. Every breakthrough would make him countless times stronger. The increase in his realm meant that his strength would have a breakthrough. It was even more so for martial saint powerhouses. They often stopped at one realm for their entire lives. For the experts of the divine martial continent, it was extremely difficult for them to break through to the next realm. It was even more so for those above the supreme realm. Some geniuses like Li Lingtian were stuck in the first heaven for their entire lives. He did not expect that he would have the opportunity to break through not long after he broke through to the first sky of the martial saint realm. However, he smiled bitterly now. He did not want to break through at this time. Because the true dragon chi in his body had not been resolved, loosening his realm would only cause trouble. If anyone knew his current expression, it would be strange if they didn't cripple him. It was difficult for others to break through, but he didn't want it. However, how many people in Xianzhou dared to provoke him so easily? As long as he did not provoke others, it would be their luck. Sigh, things have come to this. So be it. Li Lingtian sighed as he activated the true dragon body barrier and the heaven and earth reincarnation technique. For the first time, he activated both techniques at the same time. He stabilized the dragon energy's impact while activating the heaven and earth reincarnation technique to break through. However, his thinking was too simple. The true dragon chi could not be stopped at all and was out of control. The loosening of the realm was caused by the true dragon chi. Now that his realm had loosened, the true dragon chi was even more violent. For a moment, Li Lingtian was completely confused and did not know what to do. For the first time, he felt helpless, and his face revealed a blank expression. Suppress your cultivation level. Li Lingtian hardened his heart. It was not difficult for him to break through to the second firmament of the saint realm. However, if he did not resolve the true dragon's chi, he would be courting death. He did not want to be killed by the true dragon's chi now. The heaven and earth reincarnation chant slowed down and began to suppress the loosening of his realm. He accelerated the circulation of the true dragon protection technique and quickly refined the true dragon chi. Seconds passed. Li Lingtian's face was filled with pain. After some time, Li Lingtian opened his eyes with a calm expression. His entire person became calm, and gradually, an excited smile appeared on his face. The sixth layer of the true dragon body barrier. Second sky of the martial saint realm. Li Lingtian said lightly, but he burst out laughing at the end. He had never expected that the true dragon chi would form the sixth layer of his true dragon body barrier. After the true dragon chi was resolved, he took the opportunity to break through the first sky of the martial saint realm and successfully reached the second sky of the martial saint realm. Feeling the powerful true essence in his body, the confidence on his face became even stronger. In the martial saint realm, Each level was like a world. Compared to a martial emperor or a martial venerable, it was on a completely different level. After reaching the martial saint realm, there was a huge difference between each level. Every heaven was a world apart. A world apart. The power of a second heaven martial saint was at least 10 times stronger than a first heaven martial saint. It would be strange if Li Lingtian was not excited by such a powerful ability. To other martial saints, the difference between first heaven and second heaven was also very big. However, in front of him they were simply like ants. However, his own first heaven and second heaven were worlds apart. The 6th level of the true dragon body barrier was even more terrifying. The first 3 levels were the most basic levels of the true dragon body barrier, and the 4th, 5th and 6th levels were another advanced level. The 6th level was even more powerful. It was many times stronger than the 5th level. This was not a difference in strength, but a qualitative change. There was a world of difference between the two. There were 2 major realms between a true dragon and a Yinglong, just like the difference between a martial saint and a martial god. The power of the flying rain dragon had reached the power of the flying rain dragon. It could roam the world and tear through the void. Its defense could match the attacks of the martial god. When it was used, the 6 winged dragons flew together. The power to tear the world apart was enough to destroy even a martial god expert. Yinglong was the true expert. He had some rivals among the human race. At this moment, the door of the training room was opened. Tang Qingyue and the others walked in with concerned expressions. She quickly came to Li Lingshan's side and kept sizing him up. Lingtian, how are you? Tang Qingyue looked anxious when she saw Li Lingtian asking first. The other girls were looking at Li Lingtian, waiting for his reply. She wondered how Li Lingtian was doing. Ha 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 ha. Yuyan, Qingyue, Mei Meng Meng, Qingling, Yingying. I've broken through to the 2nd sky of the martial saint realm and reached the 6th layer of the true dragon body protection. Li Lingtian stood up and laughed out loud. However, when he saw Tang Qingyue and the others' worried expressions, he quickly told them about his current situation to cheer them up. Actually, there was no need to say whether his injuries had recovered. This was because as long as he broke through, it meant that his injuries were no longer affected. Really? That's great. I didn't expect Big Brother Ling Tian to actually break through. 2nd sky of the martial saint realm, 6th layer of the true dragon body protection. Your cultivation has improved. This is really a blessing in disguise. Huangfu Yuyan and the others were stunned for a moment, but they quickly reacted and were extremely excited. Li Lingtian had defeated the martial god and killed the venerable. Despite his injuries, he had achieved a breakthrough. It was extremely difficult for Li Lingtian to achieve a breakthrough. He did not expect Li Lingtian to achieve a breakthrough and even the true dragon body barrier. The breakthrough of the true dragon body barrier was not like the breakthrough of a martial saint but like the breakthrough of a martial emperor. That's right. I didn't expect that the dragon chi in this world would help me reach the 6th layer of the true dragon body protection and the 2nd sky of the martial saint realm. Li Lingtian nodded and replied happily. Let's go. They're still worried. Let them be happy. With a smile on her face, Shenyuan Yingying tugged at Li Lingtian and dragged him out. Although Li Lingtian had just achieved a breakthrough, his realm was not a problem. Furthermore, as long as he did not use his true essence, his realm would not be affected at all. Soon after, Li Lingtian and the others left the practice room and went outside. Ji and the others were overjoyed when they learned that Li Lingtian had achieved a breakthrough. The powerhouses on the war god were also extremely excited. Li Lingshan's abilities and methods were all heaven-defying and powerful. With every breakthrough in his realm, his power would skyrocket to a terrifying level. Compared to before, he would be even more heaven-defying. With such a master, he was naturally incomparably happy. It was also a form of pride. It was impossible for a martial saint to fight a martial god in the divine martial continent. Even if a 1st sky martial saint could escape from a 6th sky martial saint expert, it would still be an extremely sensational matter. However, Li Lingtian had managed to kill 6 martial god powerhouses and a venerable's avatar in less than a year when he was still a 1st firmament martial saint. Such strength was beyond the imagination of the experts of the divine martial continent. The war god was filled with laughter as Li Lingtian and the others returned to their own quarters and resumed their normal lives. Tang Qingyue and the others could deal with the war outside. In fact, they didn't need to deal with it. In the battle ahead, there was Marshal Saint Ming Luo and the others, as well as Yuneotian and the gorilla demon. There was no kingdom that could resist the Xiaoyao dynasty's army. The Xiaoyao dynasty's army was getting stronger and stronger, and their strength was getting more and more terrifying. Wherever it passed, it was invincible. Besides, even if there were some battle reports, they would be handled by Long De, and Tang Qingyue and the others would be in charge of some important matters. Li Lingtian was too lazy to care about the war. He needed to stabilize his realm and improve his abilities. He would only show himself when he encountered problems during the war, or when the army arrived at the Mystic Moon's sacred city. My current cultivation base has basically stabilized, but I still need to control the other divine powers and treasures. You guys too. Raise your cultivation so that you can help me in the future. Li Lingtian sat on the war god's chair with a look of enjoyment on his face. At this time, he was basically carefree, cultivating in peace and enjoying life. As for other matters, he would not worry about them at all. When the time came, he would resolve them and take one step at a time. Moreover, everything was under his control. However, the only thing he was worried about was the super experts of the Mystic Moon Empire and the Dark Nether Ancestor of the Frozen Snow region. Even a fool would know that the free and unfettered dynasty would fight the Mystic Moon Empire if they attacked other kingdoms. The Mystic Moon Empire would definitely be heaven-defying. At that time, it would definitely be a battle of the peak. From what they said, it seemed like the Dark Nether progenitor wanted to obtain something from him. Although he was not sure, he had killed the clone of the Dark Nether progenitor. The Dark Nether progenitor would naturally not let this matter rest. He had some confidence in dealing with ordinary First Firmament Martial God Realm experts, but against heaven-defying supremacies, he would directly disappear into thin air when he encountered the true body of a supremacy. If the old man from Netherworld came to the Black Continent, he would be in danger. Now, he had to control his strength and increase it. Yes, you've reached the second sky of the Martial Saint Realm now. As long as you can control the second sky of the Martial Saint Realm and some techniques and treasures, it'll be of great help to your strength. Moreover, your true dragon body protection has reached the 6th level. This is not a small improvement. During this period of time, we will mainly focus on cultivating our joint attacks. When we encounter experts, we will work together with you and Yinglong. Even if we face a super expert, we will have the strength to fight. Huangfu Yuyan nodded in agreement with Li Lingtian's words. Faced with the divine martial continent's might, Li Lingtian was still unable to do it alone. They had to improve their cultivation base so that they could help Li Lingtian. Following that, Li Lingtian and the rest rested while cultivating on the war god. Moreover, he would pay attention to the movements of the Mystic Moon Empire, the Heavenly Sun Empire, and the Sky Blue Empire from time to time. Under Long Da's command, countless powerhouses were lurking in the Sky Blue Empire and the Heavenly Sun Empire. Li Lingtian did not let go of any of the strange news he received as the true battle in Xianzhou had already erupted in secret. Chapter 825. The Power of the Yinglong. The power of the Yinglong, condense the body of a true dragon and reach the Yinglong realm. I've already reached the 6th level of the true dragon body protection, but I haven't completely controlled the power of the Yinglong. On the war god, Li Lingtian spent his days stabilizing his realm and cultivating the true dragon's body barrier, or controlling various treasures and divine powers. After a while, the second sky of the Martial Saint realm was stabilized. However, he had yet to completely control the 6th layer of the true dragon body protection. Breaking through to the 6th layer did not mean that he had already controlled the 6th layer. He looked at the vast sea and said indifferently. Their expressions were calm. Tank Genji and the others were playing and cultivating on the war god. They had been here for a full month and Li Lingtian had made great progress in that 1 month. However, at his realm, it was as difficult as ascending to the heavens to advance even a little. To be able to say that he had improved greatly was already heaven-defying. Roar! With a roar, his body turned into a true dragon. The true dragon's power erupted. Then, the true dragon quickly transformed into a 200-meter-long Yinglong. The power of the Yinglong was unleashed to the extreme. With a swing of its huge body, the entire sea area was overturned, stirring up a 1,000-meter-long wave. In the sky, a tearing force continued to tear the space apart. The sea area also continued to tremble in front of the destructive dragon energy. The shocking power seemed to be able to knock down the sun, moon, and stars. Roar! Rip! Gotcha! Tang Qingyue and the others were looking happily at the giant winged dragon in the void because it was Li Lingshan's incarnation. The Yinglong roared again. Its pair of claws made a tearing gesture in the void and pulled fiercely to both sides. Immediately, a 1,000-mile-wide crack was torn in the space, and the space began to shatter. The Yinglong entered the crack, and the destructive astral winds continued to ravage his powerful body. Roar! 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 A series of roars filled with pain and unwillingness resounded through the 9 heavens. The waves in the ocean were 10,000 meters high, and the air was distorted. Boom! After a full 10 minutes, the Yinglong quickly fell towards the sea. The spatial rift also disappeared and closed again. The Yinglong entered the sea area. The surface of the sea area was also dyed red by the blood on the Yinglong's body. In the spatial crack, there were destructive gales and mysterious destructive substances. These things could destroy the defenses of experts and have a destructive impact on experts. Even a martial god powerhouse would not dare to provoke this gale. However, Li Lingshan's Yinglong form needed to use this gale to temper his body. The body of a true dragon was powerful by itself. It was the strongest existence in the demon race and the myriad spirits in the world. The true dragon's qi was even more overbearing. Li Lingtian had the dragon qi of the 3,000 worlds, but he was not satisfied with his current state. Although it was powerful to use dragon qi to temper his body, no matter how strong his body was, he still had to rely on his own experience. Only after going through a destructive blow could he become stronger. The astral winds were undoubtedly the most terrifying attack. They had such destructive power against experts. Now that he had reached the 6th layer of the true dragon body protection, he already possessed the power of the Yinglong and transformed into the Yinglong. After transforming into a winged dragon, it could reach a height of 10,000 meters at its peak. Its wings could reach 1,000 meters, and its power could break the heavens. Li Lingshan's true dragon body barrier had just reached the 6th layer and could only reach 200 meters in size. His wings were only 20 meters in size and he could travel 1,000 miles in an instant. After reaching the power of the Yinglong, his entire person had a heaven-defying breakthrough. That was to say, regardless of his realm and cultivation, his strength was already comparable to a martial god expert. It was just that the power of the Yinglong was too heaven-defying, and the consumption was also extremely terrifying. Boom! The ocean's 10,000-meter waves surged into the sky. Li Lingtian transformed back into his true form and returned to the war god. The blood on his body had been washed away by the seawater, but he was indeed not in good spirits. He had just torn the void and used the astral winds to temper his body and strength. The consumption was extremely terrifying, and he was also injured quite badly. Tang Genji and the others were upset by Li Lingshan's condition, but they did not dare to disturb him. They understood that Li Lingtian had to go through countless trials if he wanted to improve. As a man, he had to go through trials. Back on the war god, Li Lingtian sat cross-legged and quickly absorbed the heaven and earth spirit qi to recover from his injuries and quintessential essence. At the same time, he felt the tempering he had just obtained. Although tempering only refined the body, it also improved his strength. He sensed the changes in his body when he was attacked by the astral winds. The Yinglong was powerful and heaven-defying, but it had its own talent. After a full hour, he had completely recovered. He also understood in his heart that Yinglong's talent was strength and speed. His strength could break the heavens and travel 10,000 miles in an instant. Although it was huge, it was extremely agile. Even if a human expert cultivated the fastest movement technique, they would not be as fast or agile as him. Moreover, Yinglong's control over space had already reached the limit. Roar! The figure turned into a Yinglong. Its huge wings flapped, and its entire body had already entered the void. Its huge claws ruthlessly tore through the void, and a cracking sound rang out. A hole was torn in the void as the endless gales tore apart once again, tempering Li Lingshan's physique. Just like that, Li Lingtian tempered his body with the astral wind every day and refined his body with the true dragon's qi at night. His cultivation base continued to improve. A month passed just like that. After a month, a faint smile appeared on Li Lingshan's face. He had gained control of the Yinglong power. Boom! On this day, Li Lingtian had finished his cultivation. He looked up at the sky with a cruel expression on his face. Suddenly, a black dot appeared in the sky. The black dot instantly became incomparably huge. It was 100 meters wide and its entire body was pitch black. Li Lingshan's eyes gleamed when he saw the black flying demonic beast. His body transformed into a winged dragon. At this moment, a 1,000-meter-long winged dragon appeared in the sky and flapped its 100-meter-long wings. His body turned into a meteor and flew towards the black flying demonic beast in the blink of an eye. With an explosive sound, the Yinglong's huge claws slapped fiercely at the black flying demonic beast. The black flying demonic beast felt the destructive demonic power, and it was the medicinal power of the demonic king. It immediately trembled and didn't dare to move at all. Seeing the huge claw coming at it, it didn't even have the consciousness to defend. In the blink of an eye, the black flying demon beast was destroyed. The 100-meter-long flying demon beast was like a chick in front of the Yinglong, instantly killed. A level 8 or level 9 demonic beast can't even withstand a single blow. Li Lingtian reverted to his true form and hovered in the air. He watched as the flying demonic beast turned into a bloody mist before he reached out with one hand and retrieved an inner core. He said calmly. Then, his figure flashed and he returned to the war god. Upon hearing Li Lingshan's words, all the powerhouses on the war god were stunned. Even Tian Qingzi could feel his body trembling. A level 8 or level 9 demonic beast was equivalent to a 9th heavenly layer martial saint. Yet, Li Lingtian claimed that the other party was vulnerable after being killed in a single blow. This was merely an exaggeration. It was not a big deal for Li Lingtian to kill a level 8 or level 9 demonic beast because it was only a 9th heavenly layer martial saint. However, they all understood that Li Lingtian had relied on his strength to kill his opponent without any tricks or skills. Tian Qingzi, try attacking with your full strength, Li Lingtian shouted. As soon as he finished speaking, countless powerhouses standing on the plank vanished in the blink of an eye. All of them entered the war god and ran faster than ghastly shadow. This was because they had suffered a lot from Li Lingtian during this period of time. Every time Li Lingtian called for them to attack him, they were unable to break through his defense or break through the Yinglong power. On the contrary, they were knocked out by Li Lingshan's Yinglong power every time. Now that they saw Li Lingtian calling out Tian Qingzi, they had a bad feeling and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Young master, I think there's no need. Tian Qingzi revealed a bitter smile, but he still walked out and floated in the air with a pitiful expression. If this expression was seen by the experts outside, their jaws would drop. A powerful martial god expert was not retaliating and was even making such an expression. What was the meaning of this? This is the last time. If you can break through my defense, I'll reward you with a peerless congealing spirit pill. Li Lingtian smiled like a big bad wolf. In a flash, he left the war god and hovered above the sea. Tank Genji and the others chuckled when they saw the scene. Although Li Lingshan's current cultivation was only at the second firmament of the martial saint realm, his strength was enough to kill a martial god powerhouse. Moreover, the power of the winged dragon made his cultivation comparable to a martial god. In other words, as long as he used the true dragon body protection alone, he could raise the level of a demon cultivator to the first level of the martial god realm. It was the same for the devil race's true saint devil scripture. After the last battle, he had completely fused with the true saint devil scripture. He no longer had any doubts about the true saint devil scripture, because he understood that no matter what kind of cultivation technique it was used to kill people. It did not matter if it was a demon cultivation technique or a demon cultivation technique. As long as it could defeat the opponent, it was fine. After all, it was not a race war. The winner was king, and the strong were respected. When he used the Saint Demon Quintessence alone, he could also make the level of the Demon Cultivator reach the level of the Demon Venerable. The Demon Venerable was equivalent to the realm of the Martial Saint. In the MO, the hierarchy was extremely strict. Only MO that had reached the Martial God realm were qualified to be addressed. They were the Demon Lord, the Demon Emperor, the Demon Emperor, the Demon Ancestor, and the Demon God. As for the above, there were some legends. However, some low-level demons also had their own titles, but those were self-proclaimed, such as Demon General, Demon King, and so on. Then I'll try my best. Young master, be careful. When Tian Qingzi heard Li Ling Tian mention the peerless coagulation pill, he was immediately excited. Even if Li Ling Tian did not give him the pills, as his subordinate, he had to obey his orders. It would be best if he had the pills now. With that said, he smiled and circulated his true essence to the limit. With a wave of his hand, a divine artifact appeared in his hand, causing the space to tremble. Chapter 826. Terrifying Defense. The pressure of the divine artifact and the terrifying strength of the martial god expert caused a storm to suddenly rise in the sea. Tian Qingzi did not dare to be careless at this moment. Since Li Ling Tian had instructed him to use his full strength, he would not hold back. This was because Li Ling Tian wanted to check his defensive capabilities. If he held back, Li Ling Tian would have misjudged his strength. Even if he were to injure Li Ling Tian now, Li Ling Tian was confident. He would rather have Li Ling Tian injured now than have any accidents happen during Li Lingshan's battle in the future. Moreover, he had used his full strength in the previous few attacks. It was just that he did not use a divine artifact. An expert's physique was strong. He could not only withstand attacks with his bare hands, but also attacks with powerful treasures and divine arts. In the divine martial continent, what an expert used was not divine arts or treasures. Alright, let's do it. True Dragon Body Protection, 6th level, Yinglong Power. Li Ling Tian knew what was on Tian Qingzi's mind when he saw Tian Qingzi bring out the divine weapon. Then, the true essence in his body disappeared, and what came with it was a terrifying dragon qi, the qi of a true dragon. Its body transformed into a 1,000-meter-long Yinglong. Its huge wings flapped, and the space was constantly torn apart. Tidal waves surged into the sky in the sea area. It looked extremely terrifying, as if the end of the world had arrived. Roar! An earth-shattering roar rang out, and the space around it began to tremble. The power of the martial god. Sky-breaking strike. Tian Qingzi saw Li Lingshan's roar and knew that Li Ling Tian had unleashed his defense. Without any hesitation, he unleashed all of his true essence and swung the middle-grade divine weapon in his hand. A destructive attack tore through space and headed straight for Li Ling Tian. It was extremely fast and instantly struck the Yinglong. Boom! Gotcha! With a loud explosion, the destructive attack struck Li Lingshan's winged dragon and it was blasted away. At the same time, the Yinglong's huge body, coupled with the impact of the attack, the speed and power of its flying directly tore through space. In the blink of an eye, it had already run 500 kilometers away and disappeared into the sky. Tian Qingzi was horrified to see this. The divine weapon combined with the martial god's most powerful attack was enough to destroy the world. Even the other martial god powerhouses would vanish into thin air after being hit, let alone Li Ling Tian, who did not retaliate. Young master! Young master! Immediately, Tian Qingzi cried out in alarm. His body flashed and he quickly chased after Li Ling Tian. Although the powerhouses on the war god had hidden themselves inside the war god, they were still watching Li Ling Tian and Tian Qingzi. Although they did not want to attack Li Ling Tian, they would not hesitate even if they had to die if Li Ling Tian called out to them. Now that they had seen Li Ling Tian being sent flying, they were extremely shocked. Their bodies flashed as they flew toward the horizon of the sea. Tang Qingyue and the others were equally shocked. They quickly left the war god and headed to the horizon to look for Li Ling Tian. This unexpected turn of events was beyond everyone's expectations. In fact, they had underestimated the might of a martial god powerhouse because they had overestimated Li Lingshan's ability. A martial god powerhouse's attack was capable of destroying the world. However, the martial god powerhouse had lost its former glory in front of Li Ling Tian. Boom! When all the powerhouses and Tian Qingzi chased after him to the horizon, Li Ling Tian was nowhere to be seen. However, at this moment, a terrifying wave erupted in the sea area, and a huge Yinglong soared into the sky. There were bloodstains on its huge wings. Roar! The Yinglong roared. Its huge claws grabbed and pulled in the air, and a hole appeared in space. Seeing this, all the experts, including Tang Qingyue, were shocked. However, in an instant, Yinglong turned into a phantom and Li Lingshan's true form appeared. There was blood at the corner of Li Lingshan's mouth and his face was extremely pale. However, his expression was not that bad and his spirit was not as bad as he had imagined. The attack that was destroyed by a martial god expert was actually not blocked and could still be so easily done. This indeed shocked countless experts. For a moment, they were all stunned. Tian Qingzi, your mother's eyesight is not good. You actually hit my wings. Li Lingtian glared at Tian Qingzi coldly and roared. He extended his hand and a terrifying fist shadow landed on Tian Qingzi's body. Tian Qingzi was still in a daze and did not react at all. By the time he reacted, his body trembled and he was thrown out. Pucci! Instantly, all the experts could not help but laugh. He did not expect Li Lingtian to say such a thing at this time. Furthermore, Tian Qingzi was too much. He had actually attacked the young master's wings. Was he asking for a beating? His crude words instantly drew the powerhouses closer to Li Lingtian. Li Lingtian was their master, yet he behaved like an ordinary person without putting on any airs. Mistake, it's a total mistake. Tian Qingzi's voice came from the direction of the war god. His voice carried a hint of shame. When he had attacked earlier, he had been too far away. He had originally intended to hit the Yinglong's huge body, but he had not expected to hit the Yinglong's wings. Big brother Ling Tian, are you all right? Shenyuan Yingying looked at Li Lingtian and asked with concern. The full-force attack from the martial god and the divine weapon would have dissipated even if it hit the wings. It was indeed heaven-defying that Li Lingshan's Yinglong power was not destroyed. I'm fine, but my mind was shaken a little. Li Lingtian shook his head before leading everyone back to the war god. After returning to the war god, Li Lingtian began to treat his injuries. Although he was injured, it was not fatal. On the contrary, he was happy because he now knew his true defensive capabilities. Following that, Li Lingtian instructed all the powerhouses to cultivate for a period of time and return after a month. Join the war and quickly resolve the war between the kingdoms. After the war, it would be time to fight the Mystic Moon Empire. Tang Qingyue and the others also stepped up their cultivation. With Li Lingtian's current cultivation, there was no need for him to focus on cultivation. Instead, he focused on controlling the divine powers and treasures that he had already cultivated. As long as he could control them to the extreme, or even to the perfection state, his power would reach a new level. Moreover, his current cultivation was not suitable for rapid improvement at all, lest it affected his state of mind. If he really wanted to improve his cultivation, he could do dual cultivation with Tang Qingyue and the others. The 7 of them could cultivate together and use their true essence. This way, their cultivation speed could be increased by 7 times. With the addition of pills, their cultivation speed would be even faster. Alchemy was also a kind of rapid improvement. After consumption, one would quickly recover, and similarly, one's cultivation would increase rapidly. This was the so-called breaking and then building. He had already made arrangements. For now, it was best not to touch the other cultivation techniques and treasures. The true Saint Demon record would not touch the treasures of the demon race or the underworld, but he would not leave behind the treasures that had already been used. Time passed day by day. The people on the war god were all cultivating seriously. The Mystic Moon Empire was in chaos. The rise of the free and unfettered empire had terrified countless kingdoms in the Mystic Moon Empire, but they hadn't been optimistic about the free and unfettered empire in the beginning. However, after the Freedom Dynasty annexed Moonsong Kingdom, Li Lingtian defied the heavens and made a triumphant advance. He unified several kingdoms and rose to power, becoming the most powerful genius in the Mystic Continent. Li Lingshan's appearance was like a comet that made all the powerhouses and geniuses feel insignificant. Now that Li Lingtian had killed 6 martial gods and even Venerable Face's avatar, he had become the strongest powerhouse in the Black Continent. The Xiaoyao dynasty was invincible and swept through all the kingdoms. The kingdoms under the Mystic Moon Empire were in chaos and couldn't cause any big waves, because they were all suppressed and unified by the free and unfettered empire. In an instant, the Xiaoyao dynasty, the North Jin Kingdom, and the Mystic Moon Empire formed a 3-legged stand. At the same time, the kingdoms under the Sky Blue Empire and the Heavenly Sun Empire began to fight. All of a sudden, the three empires started a war of unification. The entire Black Continent had entered an era of war, an era of hegemony. Mystic Moon Empire, Mystic Moon Holy City, in the Palace Hall. The luxurious palace was filled with spiritual energy. However, in this place, only martial saints were present. Not a single person below the martial saint realm had appeared. However, there was not a single martial saint in the hall today. Instead, there were 10 martial god powerhouses. The main seat of the palace was covered by a thin veil that isolated any divine sense. On the throne, a person wearing a veil was deep in thought. "How's the battle outside?" An ethereal and sweet voice sounded. However, although this voice was sweet, no one felt that it was pleasant to hear. Instead, it was as if they had heard a divine decree. When the voice reached the hall, the 10 powerful martial god experts revealed respectful expressions. "Your Majesty, the Carefree dynasty has already unified 11 kingdoms. They are now facing the North Jin Kingdom. May I know if Your Majesty wants us to eliminate Li Lingtian and the Carefree dynasty?" The martial god expert in the lead had already reached the second firmament of the martial god realm. When he heard the voice of the veiled woman behind the throne, he hurriedly took a step forward and bowed respectfully. He then explained the battle outside. "Eliminate Li Lingtian? Do you think you can wipe out the Venerable One's clone? You overestimate yourself." The woman behind the throne said calmly, but there was a hint of disdain in her tone. At the end of his sentence, he completely berated them, and an imposing aura spread out without anger. Immediately, the 10 martial god experts below were incomparably shocked. The expression of the martial god expert in the lead kept changing. At the same time, he understood what the Holy Emperor meant. Li Lingtian had killed 6 martial gods consecutively, and even a Venerable's avatar. Even a second firmament martial god like him did not have the slightest confidence. If he were to face Li Lingtian, it would be hard to say. Moreover, Li Lingtian had not appeared since the beginning. He must be cultivating some powerful divine power which would make him even more powerful. At the thought of this, he grew more fearful of Li Lingtian. "I wonder how Your Majesty will deal with Xiaoyao dynasty and North Jin Kingdom?" They did not dare to provoke Li Lingtian, but they wanted to know what the Holy Emperor's decision was. The Holy Emperor was the true ruler of the Mystic Moon Empire. After he finished asking, the other experts also waited, wanting to know the Emperor's decision. Chapter 827, Battle Invitation 1. You guys just have to watch this matter carefully. When the time comes, Ben Gong will naturally pass the order to you. You'd better not provoke Li Lingtian before I give the order. If you fall, don't disgrace the Mystic Moon Empire. The voice of the woman behind the throne sounded. When the 10 martial god experts heard this voice, they were all stunned. The free and unfettered empire had rebelled against the Mystic Moon Empire. Yet the Mystic Moon Empire was still tolerating it. It was truly puzzling. However, no one objected to the sage emperor's words. Otherwise, they could only wait for death. "We understand. If the Xiaoyao dynasty and the North Jin Kingdom win the war against the North Jin Kingdom, the North Jin Kingdom will definitely attack the Mystic Moon Empire. Will Your Majesty attack the North Jin Kingdom?" The leader of the group was a second heaven martial god, and he was a member of the Elder Committee of the Mystic Moon Empire. His name was Bei Feng, and all the experts who saw him would address him respectfully as Lord Martial God Bei Feng. They were all afraid of Li Lingtian from the Carefree dynasty. However, if the North Jin Kingdom were to defeat the Carefree dynasty, the North Jin Kingdom would definitely lead all their armies to attack the Mystic Moon Empire. Although the Mystic Moon Empire was under the control of the North Jin Kingdom, the North Jin Kingdom had never been willing to accept the Mystic Moon Empire. There were constant disputes between empires and kingdoms. At this time, Martial God North Wind also wanted to see what the Sage Emperor would do to deal with this. "Humph, how many chances do you think the Northern Jin Kingdom has? Even if the Northern Jin Kingdom wins and the army is dispatched, the Northern Jin Kingdom will be destroyed." The Saint Emperor harumphed coldly from behind the throne. His voice was extremely cold, and the entire palace felt as cold as an ice palace. Even the 10 martial gods felt a shiver run down their spines. This subordinate understands. Martial God North Wind and the others were shocked. It was hard to imagine that the Mystic Moon Empire would be so ruthless to the North Jin Kingdom despite being wary of Li Lingtian. They wondered what the Holy Emperor was thinking. However, the saint's heart was unpredictable, so they did not dare to speak up easily. In the end, they all took their leave and left the hall. Sir Saint Emperor, do you think that Li Lingtian is really that powerful? After the experts in the hall left, another voice came from behind the throne. It was also the voice of a woman. This Li Lingtian is indeed that powerful. He's not someone that an ordinary person can compare to. I hope he doesn't disappoint me. The Mystic Moon Empire and the North Jin Kingdom are nothing to him. I'm more worried about the Heavenly Sun Empire and the Sky Blue Empire. Now I'm worried about those people from the frozen snow region. If they come to take revenge, it'll be difficult to solve the problem. The Divine Emperor said calmly. His tone was extremely calm, but his voice was extremely beautiful. Gradually, the sound became softer and finally disappeared. The hall also became quiet, and finally, it was silent. In the Mystic Moon Empire, there were a total of 12 kingdoms. They were divided into low-grade kingdoms, middle-grade kingdoms, and high-grade kingdoms. However, in a short year, the 12 kingdoms under the Mystic Moon Empire had a shocking change. Freedom King Dynasty rose up against the heavens, and in a year, the 12 kingdoms had unified 11 kingdoms. Now, only the North Jin Kingdom had not been unified. The army of the Xiaoyao Dynasty and the army of the North Jin Kingdom confronted each other in Pingxiang City near the God's Fall mountain range. The Xiaoyao Empire had a total of 90 million soldiers. Moreover, these soldiers had formed into 3 legions. They were more efficient and only the stronger soldiers could stay. The 90 million soldiers had gathered the elites of the 11 kingdoms. This way, Freedom King's strength had skyrocketed. Pingxiang City was a big city between the Mystic Moon Empire and the North Jin Kingdom. Now, the army of the Xiaoyao Dynasty was gathered here. This was also the last kingdom war of the Xiaoyao Dynasty. As long as they could subdue the North Jin Kingdom, they could fight the Mystic Moon Empire. During this period of time, with Yun Aotian and the Gorilla Demon in the army, they were practically invincible. Since then, Li Lingshan's reputation had skyrocketed. There were no kingdoms that dared to oppose the Carefree Dynasty. It was undeniable that the kingdoms under the Mystic Moon Empire were not as powerful as the Carefree Dynasty, but they were extremely good at judging the situation. Knowing that the Carefree Dynasty was powerful, all the kingdoms submitted. They did not dare to resist and directly submitted. This way they could reduce the number of casualties. The Heavens Roar's capital city was an example. If it had submitted, it would not have been destroyed at all. However, he did not expect to rely on 4 martial god powerhouses and a supremacy avatar to go against the Carefree Empire, causing it to dissipate into thin air in the end. Brother Outyen, when do you think the young master can come here? On the war god, Marshal Saint Ming Luo looked at the tens of millions of troops and experts. Her blood was boiling. However, when she thought of the power of the Northern Jin Kingdom, the Carefree Dynasty had not made a move. It was because 4 martial god experts had appeared in the Northern Jin Kingdom. Their strength was extremely terrifying. Although they did not really fight, many of the experts of the Free and Unfettered Dynasty were killed. Although the Carefree Dynasty had gathered the armies of the 11 kingdoms and had 2 martial god-level existences, they had been undefeated throughout the journey. However, now that they had encountered the North Jin Kingdom, they had no confidence. After all, the North Jin Kingdom was able to compete with the Mystic Moon Empire, which meant that they must be powerful. If the Free and Unfettered Dynasty took the risk to attack the North Jin Kingdom, they would definitely fall into the North Jin Kingdom's trap. I have already sent the news to Great Commander Long. Looking at the time, it should be about time. I wonder how young master's injuries are after 2 months? Yun Aotian was also by Marshal Saint Ming Luo's side. Although one was a martial saint while the other was a martial god, there was no difference in cultivation realm between them. Yun Aotian understood that Marshal Saint Ming Luo was only caught up in the battle. Once the battle was over, Li Lingtian would be able to raise his realm. There was no one beneath Li Lingtian who was worthy of showing off his realm because it was a piece of cake for Li Lingtian to create a person. During this period of time, although he had been in the army and the Gorilla Demon was also in the army, they had not made a move since the battle. They had only achieved a deterrent effect. After all, no kingdom had a martial god powerhouse. Even if there were, they would not be a match for two martial gods. Even if there were more martial gods, they would have to consider Li Lingtian. The Northern Jin Kingdom is too fucking shameless. They actually issued a letter of challenge and challenged the young master at the North Soaring Peak. 4 martial god experts joined forces to deal with the young master, and they did it so brazenly. I really have to admire the North Jin Kingdom's despicable and shameless ways. The Heavenly Monster King was furious. He wanted to tear the king of the Northern Jin Kingdom apart. How could he do such a thing? This news was also just received. Moreover, when he received this news, the Northern Jin Kingdom had already announced this battle to the world. The news immediately spread like wings. As it turned out, 2 days ago, the Xiaoyao Empire's army had already arrived here. The 90 million soldiers had gathered here and were ready to fight. However, just an hour ago, the messenger of the Northern Jin Kingdom sent a letter of challenge. Lord Ling Tian of Freedom King Dynasty is a genius. He's the #1 alchemy saint of the Divine Martial Continent and is known as the #1 genius of the Divine Martial Continent. Now that the Free and Unfettered Dynasty is approaching the Northern Jin Kingdom, there will definitely be a destructive war between the Northern Jin Kingdom and the Free and Unfettered Dynasty. For the sake of the common people, I don't want the two countries to go to war. I hereby write this letter. If Your Excellency Ling Tian can defeat the 4 experts of the Northern Jin Kingdom, the Northern Jin Kingdom will be under the management of the Free and Unfettered Dynasty. The time limit is 10 days later, on the 15th of August, at the peak of the Northern Soaring Peak. The letter of challenge was signed by His Majesty of the Northern Jin Kingdom, and it also carried the imperial seal of His Majesty. Marshal Saint Ming Luo and the others almost killed the emissary of the Northern Jin Kingdom on the spot when they saw the challenge letter. The Northern Jin Kingdom wanted to challenge Li Lingtian, and it was not a fair battle. 4 martial god realm experts challenged a martial saint realm expert. Such a challenge could be said to have broken the record of the Divine Martial Continent. The only good thing was that the North Soaring Peak wasn't part of the North Jin Kingdom, nor did it belong to the Mystic Moon Empire. It was an independent place, a no-man's land. If they were to fight here, it would not affect the Northern Jin Kingdom or the Mystic Moon Empire. What's worse is that the Northern Jin Kingdom spread the news of the challenge to the young master. If the young master doesn't come, his reputation will be ruined. If he goes, he will be attacked by several martial god realm experts. In fact, if it were us, we could completely ignore this challenge letter because it's unfair. Even if the young master refuses, it's not something shameful. It's just a slap to the Northern Jin Kingdom. Marshal Saint Yun Hao said faintly. At the end, his face revealed a vicious expression. Everyone in the world knew that it was unfair for 4 martial god powerhouses to challenge a martial saint. Even if Li Lingtian refused, it would not be embarrassing. Sigh. Well, leave this matter to young master to handle. If it really comes to that and young master is in danger, it won't be too late for us to take action. If that happens, even the world won't say anything. After all, the strong are respected in this world. However, if young master accepts the challenge, it will raise the reputation and morale of the Carefree Dynasty, and also increase their cohesiveness. This way, the Carefree Empire will become even stronger. However, this time, we have to be careful. We have to be careful of other experts. Yun Aotian said seriously. He was not worried about the martial god of the Northern Jin Kingdom but some hidden powerhouses. After all, Li Lingtian was too conspicuous and attention-grabbing. He was a future threat to countless powerhouses who wished to get rid of Li Lingtian. This news had already been sent out using a mysterious secret technique, and Longda had already received it. Once Li Lingtian arrived, they would have to wait for his plans and arrangements. This matter concerned Li Lingshan's reputation and future. More importantly, it concerned Li Lingshan's safety. After all, Li Lingtian was only a martial saint powerhouse. Since the other party was aware of Li Lingshan's strength, they must have some confidence in challenging him. You're tuning in to the Xueqi's Martial Arts Saga YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.